What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another episode. I feel like I'm hearing myself from somewhere. Hold on. I am. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Opinionated with yours truly. I, of course, am your host, Resla, and I hope that you're having a good day today. Uh, Today is going to be a rather touchy episode, you can say. It's a little focused. I've been debating for a while whether I even want to have this particular type of episode, but I kind of want to get it out the way because it's a conversation that just needs to be had overall. Based on the things that I have seen throughout media, the things that I've seen throughout the years, I don't really have much of a big spin on my own particular take when it comes to this. But it is something that, quite frankly, I would like to just at least have the question of and wondering as to why people feel this way. Is there any truth to it? And if not, what exactly are your thoughts on the matter? Um, I don't necessarily mind which part of the playing field that you tend to believe that you're on. Um, as always, I think everybody can have a particular perspective, so I don't really exclude anyone out from having it because it's all predicated on pretty much the things that we see throughout our life, and then having our own particular discussion about it. So keep in mind, even when you see the title, like, is Black experience necessarily a scam, which is the pretty much the title of this particular one, it doesn't mean that I, for one, wouldn't want your perspective on it as someone who is quote a non-black, because quite frankly, you have eyes and you have ears like everybody else have, and if you have a particular perspective on the matter, I would like to hear it. Again, I am not a person who says basically that just because you see a black face that this is a black space, or if I'm having a black topic or black conversation. I don't know why now I got this damn ambulance is coming by. You could probably hear it. Probably. They just losing their mind now. Hold on. Just because this happens to be a black person doesn't mean that I hold things and particular topics. Now you can probably hear me more. Sorry about that, guys. Um, that we hold this to particular. Let me start over again. In case you really didn't hear me, for some reason I realized that my mic was low. Um, Topic for today pretty much is Black excellence scam, and like I said, it's a conversation I want to have based on a lot of things that I've seen on media. And quite frankly, this is a conversation I think that should be for anybody. You don't have to believe that just because you are not of the darker side of a melanated race that you cannot have the conversation. I'm looking for all kind of perspectives because quite frankly, you do have eyes and ears. I have never been the type of person that says that basically other people cannot speak on issues to things that they see. And quite frankly, does in some ways not only influence but also dives into a world that also can affect them. Um, while not all perspectives are things that people will see as quote acceptable, to me, it's about really having the conversation. That is the foremost part of this entire thing. So I think it's a conversation you need to have. And like I said, I'm open to anyone's particular perspective when it comes to this. So what I'm going to do, because I already have it marked down here, I'm going to put this in the chat in case anyone's interested in coming up. Because like I said, I want to hear everybody's particular statement on this, if they have a particular thing on it. But also, what does it mean going forward? Because there are so many weird takes. I used to hear so many different things when it comes to this particular subject, but we need to hear a little bit more about it. Because at first, I heard so many prominent things, but now I hear rather the opposite. And now there's years of it there's already so many years that are going to be on it. But before we even get started with all that, you guys know what I like to do. I want to, of course, acknowledge everybody who came into the building so far. So right now we have some people that went back and forth. Oh, listen, we got John the Baptist who's already came in. He said, "Great subject matter." We're hoping so. We're touching on some things today. And actually, speak of the devil, what's going on, John? How's everything?
What's up? What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. So I had this conversation in my in the back of my binders of my notes for some time now, and I was kind of wondering how I wanted to touch this because, quite frankly, I know it's gonna be a sensitive subject for a lot of people, and I'm rather open to having the conversation with a lot of people. But the thing is that when you get into particular issues in particular spaces with particular colors, people tend to believe that's an issue that only should be discussed by those particular people. And I'm not in that particular mind frame. I think it's a conversation that can be held by all because I think everybody's perspectives or what they think of their perspectives are is something that needs to be heard because the experience is not just the experience of people that are claiming these things, but the also the experiences and perception of how other people are viewing it. It should also be something that's taken into account. And as many articles or rather things that I was touching on, I didn't see very positive things when it came to quote what we consider to be Black excellence. But before we even get to that, tell me what are your perspective when you believe what is your perspective when you think of Black excellence?
So I'm probably not a great conversations for this subject because I have more questions than answers.
Well, sure,
I actually,
we can go through the questions.
okay, so I'd rather ask you a couple of questions and then maybe I have more clarity.
Okay,
So explain to me exactly what is Black excellence, and then the part two to that question is what is that compared to other races of excellence?
two great questions back to back. So let me I'll add three things to that. So the first thing is my initial perception of what I thought Black excellence was, right? Before I decided to go doing a little bit of research into it. So my initial thought of Black excellence was people who are pretty much risen to a certain status of prominence that we can see as examples, candidate, prime candidate examples of people that we can say we as Black people may want to emulate because, quite frankly, if they were able to go through the gauntlet and become successful, we might want to be those things as well. That was my initial thought of all of it. Now, as I got deeper into it, and keep in mind, people are not going to agree, but I went through several articles. I had a back and forth war with an AI. I've looked at different videos. I did all this stuff. Now, when it came to the idea of Black excellence, there's just so many things written on it. Pretty much, and I'm gonna go to one of my top ones here. Black excellence doesn't really hold a whole lot of water. What it says is that we have overcome, quite frankly, a lot of things, but it really just says that we are just going up to an area of being, I guess, equal or at the same or working towards being at the same playing field as other people. So some things that got brought in, and I'll bring forth the historical context, because that's the first thing that Black people want to bring up first. The concept that Black excellence emerges from a response to systemic racism. And I'm not going to even say that there is no systemic racism. There is. I've seen it myself firsthand. I've had to have backroom conversations as to how it was perceived to other people who just didn't quite get it. Um, so there is a talk about the emergence and response to systemic barriers. Um, there's also the historical context of Black individuals who are basically needing to have the same access to opportunities. Um, so I thought that's very particular. And it normally it's in particular to white people. It's never about in particular to Asian, in particular to Hispanic folk, in particular to whether you want to say Indian people, dot or feather. It's always in contrast to white people.
Hmm.
Um, but then there are other things that we look at, and that's the thing that I first saw, how we look at our celebrity achievements, right? The people who are quote least reach the top. Because when I hear of Black excellence, I'm gonna tell you who I generally see. Who I generally see, who I hear generally reference. Athletes and entertainers. It's hardly ever, not that they're not out there, but you hardly ever get the mentioning of people who are doctors, lawyers, doctors, lawyers, freaking like I said, non-singers, you always get just like the rap boys, or if you say back in the day when you had Whitney Houston, the singers, or like I said, all these basketball players or football players. You really don't hear risen to prominence people who are at the top of their game, who are, quote, even you say revolutionary. So one person I like to bring up, even though people have a disparaging um, view of him, is Dr. Ben Carson. He is someone who has definitely risen to prominence, but because
Yeah.
so many black people don't like his views when it comes to how he chooses his steps within politics, they shun him. It doesn't go against the fact that he is very much an accomplished neurosurgeon, that he's discovered so many different techniques, that he's a world class, you know, exceptional black individual. But because of other things that are just like, they dismiss the entire man based on how they feel about the small things that he's done. In comparison to what he has done, and that's the small things that I've mentioned, he's done so much more. It gets overshadowed by how he feels that he wants to move politically. And I think that's a shame. And we have critiques. And I'll even mention, go back to the athletes and entertainers, right? As much as we want to, not even we, that's not me, but as much as people even like to say for the celebrities, for the entertainers who are at the top, the Jay-Z's, the Beyoncé's. Oh, I need me a Simone Biles, you know, when these people, Diddy, we have Diddy out there. But when something happens, we either praise them past the point where we know we shouldn't be doing it because we can already see all the disgusting things that they're doing, uh, also known as R. Kelly, or
Yep.
we totally shun them, quote, who are at our top because we mainly worship them as athletes and entertainers. But then the moment something happened, we totally denigrate them and put them down to the bottom. And then we say, look at all the worship they've done. And I go, well, who are your champions? And then I get silence because all you can reflect to is athlete entertainment. Great example, John, because you'll know this. You've been in these spaces. You talk to a lot of different people all over social media as well. Typically, when people want to reference someone that they can think that people will understand, or rather, yeah, people will understand or know who the person is, they refer to who? Athletes and entertainers. They don't reference the top lawyer. They don't reference the black scholar. They don't reference the black doctor. They don't reference the sciences. That's not what they do. Only when they look at them in a negative light do they mention them. Prior to anything else, they don't mention them. If they're not pretty much in the worst parts of media, they don't bring them up. No chaser. Thanks for showing up, man. Am I wrong so far on my assessment?
No, I'm right there with you. I was just kind of maybe I missed it. I'm trying to figure out how does black excellence. You talked about black excellence, how we view it, and gave me better idea how we look at it and what it is. But
Mhm.
then how we compare it to other races now though.
So what I have seen, and again, people who are totally diehard when it comes to what they believe black excellence is feel free to actually disagree with it because you're entitled to your opinion. But when I see things, when I've read things, rather when it comes to the idea of what black excellence is, it's rather normal. That we, and I hate to say it, yes, we have been, disenfranchised. There's been a time of being, all the other stuff that happened way in the past, or rather how we are in a particular situation that we are now. But I like to look at responsibility and how exactly should we have been cleaning ourselves, our little own selves up in our own little families, rather than worrying about lifting because that's the one thing I don't like, lifting everybody up at the same time, going back to have to pull everybody when not everybody wants to get out the mud. So I think you need to become the examples that other people need to follow, you know. And then, but we also have the same thing, the people that go back to the hood, and that's not necessarily a good thing. It's not. So when I hear black excellence is like becoming a homeowner. Black excellence is having educational achievements because you attended college. Black excellence is a professional accomplishments like going to the Marine Corps. You know, you know, having personal resilience because, quite frankly, you were able to raise a family off of a limited income. They are looking at this as Black excellence. Oh, doing community service, helping out your church and for all their local needs. These are considered things to be Black excellence. This is things that pretty much any other race can do. Is it really excellence? Do we really look at those things as important and we call them excellent? That's a large word to use, excellence, when that could be something that's really considered to be a common variety, in my opinion.
I would agree. I think one of the things that we do to answer your question of the title, is it a scam? I say yes, it is, and I
Okay.
think we make it a scam. When
How
we
so?
promote, because excuse me, I gotta get over something. When we, and you kind of touched on it, when we put D.B.D on a pedestal
Go
with
ahead.
no yes, he's earned a lot of money. He's risen to the top of his craft. He's well known. But then what? I'm
Sorry, John.
saying,
You broke up for a quick moment there. But he's what? You say he's at the top of his class and what? Uh-oh.
yeah, my signal's kind of weak.
Okay, I hear you now. You saying he's at the top of his class and then you broke up after that.
Okay. Yes, he's risen to the top of his craft.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, there were a lot of people who respected him.
Oh, damn, John.
Not
I'm
even
losing you
value,
again.
just
They didn't
his
want,
human
they didn't
value
want
to
to talk about Diddy.
society.
Okay, what were we saying? Something about society? It's like they don't want you
Yeah,
talking
my
about
signal's
Diddy,
kind of
man.
weak too, so it might be that. So that might be what it is for real. I bet that's part of my cue to move on, right? Maybe they not done with him yet.
He said they got time. They got time. But
Yeah. So, but
go ahead, go
I
ahead.
think the people that we promote in our culture are not a good examples for me. Like, why don't we promote Colin Powell? Why don't we promote Clarence
Ooh,
Thomas? Why
great.
don't we promote?
Oh, well, you
You know,
know how people are feeling about Clarence Thomas right now. Even though I don't think it's a terrible thing, quite frankly, but him being in his particular post is an accomplishment. It
not
is.
only is it an accomplishment. No, I'm saying not only is it an accomplishment, it is one. It's you can track his life for decades.
Correct.
You can see his decision making for decades. You can see his family values for decades. You have a history that you can go back and verify whether you like him or don't like him. You can go back and look at his history and see the things that he's valued, the things that he supported, the things that he has done, his successes, his failures, and get a better judgment of what kind of person he is.
Well, I'll go
Don't
a
mean you
little
have to
further
like
than
him.
that. Yeah, exactly. That's the point I was about to make. Regardless of whether you like him or not, you cannot say he's not in a status that's quote to be in a level of excellence. He is. Doesn't matter how you feel about
That's
him. He's there. He did the work. I don't like this feeling because I use the akin to the people that we celebrate. There's the common theme of we celebrate some of the worst things about us and we celebrate some of the worst people. We highlight those who quote, not to say that they don't have talent, but there are people who are talented that we can easily look at them and we can say not everybody can get there because they didn't start from, I guess if you want to call it a humble beginning. You can't look and compare yourself to Jay-Z and Beyonce. they didn't have humble beginnings. They had a lot of help. It's not easy to get into the rap game. It damn for sure is not easy to be born into a family that already has musical talent and geniuses already there. Like, that's not fair to put yourself in that bubble to think that you could compete with them or that you even believe that you could be one of those people. Assume you are not one of those people. But if you look at someone like you said, Clarence Thomas, I mentioned Ben Carson. They're the ones who started out low, went to school like everybody else did, and managed to rise to prominence. You can do that. Whether you want to go to community college first, or you want to go straight into a university, incur the more debt, whatever's the fastest way for you. But you can do the work and become someone. But instead, we get who do we want to celebrate? Like George Floyd. But then we turn around and do a quick record on him, and we're like, I don't care. It's just injustice. We're still going to prop him up. We're going to create statues. Really? Is he considered a part of Black excellence? Because we sure celebrated him. It's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I just can't help
part of the things that they put up as excellence is having everyday resilience. What the fuck does that mean? Everyday, I'll even read it. Everyday resilience. The concept extends to recognizing the strengths and perseverance of individuals overcoming challenges, like raising a family on limited income or contributing to one's community. Resilience? I think that equates to everybody who are doing those things within families. Anyone in any community, Asians do it in their own communities. White people do it in their own communities. Indian people do it in their own community. How is this excellent? How is this what exactly is the quote definition for them of excellence?
I don't think we have a true definition of excellence in Black culture. Which I think your title is a perfect title. I think it is a scam. It is a dishonest and it is a fraud in the sense of that the things that we promote, it actually is the worst for our culture. It actually put our kids in a terrible position to win in life. When you
I think
strive
that is
to
very
be
interesting. Yep.
when you strive to be a Jay-Z or a Beyonce, when you strive to be a 50 Cent or even let's go to sports. Let's go to LeBron James. I like
Mm.
watching sports. I love the stories of athletes. You know, people who come from rags to riches, but it doesn't make them what's excellent about culture. Basically, what it is you have a skill set that most people don't have, and you was able to profit off of it. But it says nothing about your what's the word? Longevity. What's the word I'm trying to say?
Longevity.
Okay. Longevity
Mhm.
of your decision making, morals, and values as a person that would benefit a culture for you to represent black excellence.
So let me pull up what Chaser said. He says true definition of excellence equals success. And I have to kind of push back on that because
Yes, please do.
success is measured by the individual themselves. Do we want to call it excellence? Again, there are people who call themselves successful because they're dope boys. Is that excellent? I can sell to anybody on the block. Is that excellence? Hey, I don't have to worry about going to a job. I can just, because my D is so good, chicks are just taking care of me. He thinks he's successful. Is that excellence though? I'd have to say no. Me, personally speaking. Other people might say, I want to be just like him. I think he's very successful. But is it excellence? Is it something that we can say that people should be looking to aspire to? Because to me, that should be the definition of excellence. That people can follow in footsteps. Success is measured personally. Excellence, though, is something that everybody can see. So I can't say that they equate to be the same thing. And John, you may see it differently.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's just success. No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I think there's more to it than that. Resla, I'm about to drop down for a little bit, but I'm still
Okay.
listening. If you still up when I get through, I'll come back up.
I hear you because I'm about to get into some things. So just to, and thanks for coming up, man. So just for people who actually don't have the idea of how other people are looking at these particular things, let's just get into it right now and let you know. I'm going to start from the very beginning. You already see it right from the start. Let me fix this right here. Right from the start. So let's take a look at this. So
In my opinion, if you talk to an integrationist, and say, how far have we come since slavery? Oh, we come very far. We got a black president. Now we got a black vice president. We got a black Supreme Court justice. We got about 10 black billionaires. We got about 100 black.
Okay, so let me cover that. Let me cover that real quick. You said if someone opens up a beauty parlor, I don't even know if they still call it a beauty parlor, but if they open up a beauty parlor but doesn't hire anybody and they call that success, black excellence. First of all, they're not even an entrepreneur. They're a solopreneur. They all their quote success, and that's exactly what it is, success, not excellence. Success is predicated on them and them alone. Now, if they were an entrepreneur, they would hire other people because now other people's livelihoods are tied to quote their success, because their success would help feed families, help those people grow. To me, that would be excellence. Them supporting themselves is not excellence. You being able to support other people, that's excellence. That's the way how I look at that.
Millionaires?
Ain't shit changing.
Because their definition of progress is based exclusively on superficial assets. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the integrationist. Now you come to me, the nationalist, the Pan-African nationalist. How much progress have we made since slavery? Zero. But Dr. Umar, how can you say that? Black people got master's degrees, doctorate degrees, houses in white neighborhoods. We own our own businesses. We got millionaires. We got tech companies. Here's my question. To what extent are we now in a better position to protect and dictate the lives of our children?
Honestly, I hear a lot of things that come out of Umar's mouth. But on this particular one, I gotta say, he's hitting. He has this one on it. What exactly can we say that we see that is being shown that says that we are, quote, in a better position to protect what we have, to protect our families, to protect against negative influences when it comes to our culture? What exactly is that? I gotta be honest and say, I don't see it. I have not seen it in a very long time. So what exactly would those things be? How exactly are those things measured? Because if anything tries to come back to the, let's just say to the hood and try to do something with it, it pretty much ran the fuck up out of there. If someone who is, quote, even married to someone else who is not of the same race, even though they support their people, they pay money, they pay college tuition, they're still seen as a sellout. They ain't black enough. Their efforts are pretty much gone to waste, even though they have raised them to be probably millionaires and billionaires. They can pay for literally for an entire year's tuition. But somehow they get shitted on and we don't consider that person to be part of black excellence. This is weird. If you ask me, black people tend to run more on their feelings rather than what the definition of measured success is. And quite frankly, I think Umar is kind of pointing that out right now. He's kind of pointing out the hypocrisy when it comes to people, because people will even inflate their own selves up. But then when you look around them, shit don't look that good
today than we was when slavery ended. Let me ask it another way. When slavery ended, we owned 1/2 of 1% of all the wealth in America. Guess how much we own now?
The same.
1/2
Wow.
of 1% of all the wealth in America. Mm-hmm. What the fuck has changed? Nothing at all, but the appearance of things. Right. The only thing they did when they ended slavery is change the way it looked. They traded in slavery. Mm-hmm. Before the 13th Amendment, we were owned by individuals. We was the property of individual slaveholders.
Okay.
After the 13th Amendment, we became property of the government itself. We are slaves of the state. Mm.
Oh, sorry. I was muted. Sorry about that. Quite frankly, I don't disagree with what he said. I really don't. I gotta say that it is something I don't really expect. But Mute Nation. That's funny. But quite frankly, I can't really say I disagree with him. And like I said, I'm not a person that really even really agrees with a lot of the things that Umar says, because he's definitely on that thing where he'll blame people that just really don't need to be blamed because he'll pander to particular people. But I gotta say, when it comes to this particular thing, he was kind of on it. And here's the funny part. He's not the only one to say particular things like that. So in me going down this rabbit hole to see how people really feel about it, I had this young lady over here. Keep in mind, I'm watching all this stuff in real time, just like you guys. So I haven't really seen, or rather know, everything they're gonna say. But the titles are enough. So this one says she gave up on Black excellence, and I wonder why. You can see this is a sister. She obviously probably went through her thing. She's probably a college graduate. So who knows?
Before we get started, I want to make one thing clear. I love Blackness. I love Black people, Black culture, Black music. And I love Black people from all backgrounds, no matter if you have a degree or not, whether you're a janitor or CEO. I love Black people. And that's one of the reasons why I am pushing away this idea of Black excellence. I am no longer interested in being Black excellence, and I'll tell you why. Number one, Black excellence is capitalism under another name. You can try to convince me otherwise, but I'm not going to believe you. If we value money, things, possessions, access, accolades, right, resources over people, if that is what makes a person valuable, you're not going to convince me that Blackness does not align itself with capitalism, that Black excellence does not align itself with capital.
Interesting. Very interesting. And I didn't even consider that as being part of an argument. Do we look at Black excellence as simple as money and materialism? Because you don't hear about it just being power and influence, which is, if you ask me, is just as important. But we talk about the money, and let's be honest, we talk about the throwing away of money. So the fact that she even brought that up, because I don't have a problem with capitalism whatsoever. Okay, so no, Chase, you say materialistic objects? Yes. Okay, cool. Because we're 100 years, it doesn't matter what the shorts are, but you don't get to. So the reason why the reason why I bring up I'm bringing up the race-based argument is because, quite frankly, the race-based argument has never gone away. It's never gone away. It may be tamped down, it may be hushed and whispered, but it's never gone away. And this is why even you probably weren't here in the very beginning when I opened up the show. But I said, this is a conversation that I'm willing to have with anybody. Because people have the idea that just because it needs to be brought up, or rather the word black is even in it, or rather, especially if it's even said by a black person, that quite frankly, no one else is allowed to have their opinion in it. Not to mention the fact that black people, black culture, extends to affect everyone. Because when we talk about it and say who's some of the most influential people that we have on the globe, there's no doubt it's black people. There's no doubt in my mind that it's black people in so many aspects of the world. And at the same time, with all the influence, with the power, I don't even really talk about the power, but with the influence, with the money that's shown to be wasted, what is all that worth? And I just finished having a conversation as to, outside of, let's be honest, athletes and entertainers, who exactly are black people propping up? Because we have great examples. John, thank you for mentioning Clarence Thomas. He didn't even cross my mind, but I was thinking about a lot of people. Because if you ask people, I don't think a lot of people can give me people. Because most people I meet, unless there's someone in politics or whatever, and they probably got a big gripe about them too. But I would say look at someone's position and also look at how they got there to measure that person. Because we're not going to also say this. I'm going to put this out there real quick, because this is the thing about morals, and we need to stamp this shit out. I don't want to hear that the person should only be respected if they did good things, and only if they did good things for black people. We're talking about excellence. That they work their ass off to get to a prominent position where they are acknowledged, they are seen across the board. So that I'll even say this, guys. Fucking Van Jones, crying ass Van Jones. In fact, I want to take off my glasses just so you guys don't confuse me with fucking Van Jones, his crying ass. Not for nothing, as much as even I dislike some of the shit that he says, he's in the position of excellence. I don't even like the motherfucker, and plenty of people don't. But there's no question about it that he is seen in a prominent position, that his name is known all over the nation, that he has served different people and he's been known, and he's been actually spoken. He's actually spoken to presidents, which a lot of people claim they've spoken to presidents. Like, he's a political figure. Like I said, I can't even say I like the mofo. But are we going to say that he doesn't have achievements that are noteworthy? This is not, again, it's not your feelings. Not your feelings. We're looking at stats. Not his political takes. We're looking at his stats. That's it. You can say whatever you want to say about Shannon Sharpe. Is he not in a position of excellence? I'm not even a sports fan. I can acknowledge that this shit, he said some dumb shit. He's done some dumb shit. But when I look at his record and where he's at, I can tell you that there are still some people that will still rather follow his path, his trajectory. He's someone that, quite frankly, if you just look at the record, if you look at how he moves, and you look at what he built based on how he's able to build rapport and build all these networks around him, he is a person that should be looked at of, dare I say it, black excellence. And you're allowed to disagree with the feeling, but look at what he's produced. Can you really argue with what he's produced? Fuck your feelings. We're here to talk about facts right now. I don't give a damn if you think he's a clown or if you think he's the next thing from sliced bread. Look at his fucking results. Should he not be considered someone who's considered of black excellence? Whether you think he's a clown or not. I'm not even stating he is. And again, he's literally in the realm of athlete entertainer. He's literally going from both. But I'll go back to my original point again. Do we only look at excellence as athletes and entertainers? And then how far do you actually take it as Black? Or are we doing the one drop rule for those who want to bring up Obama? I'll leave it up to you. How far do we go? Because you know who I don't really hear people talk about as well? Cory Booker. Quite frankly, political, in a particular position, does whatever, rather quiet. Ask me, a little bit timid, but people don't know who he is. And if you don't, look him up. Look him up. Aren't these people who are, quote, in outstanding positions that most people cannot get into? Are we going to look at this as areas of, quote, Black excellence? Not about what you feel about them. Not about the whole, what has he done for me lately? Because he doesn't have to. They earn their spots. The question is, are they not in that position? Are they not? And here's the funny part. Are they not in the position that if you actually worked your behind off the same way that they did, you could get there too? We're not talking about people who was given millions. We're not talking about people who inherited wealth. We're talking about people who went to school and worked their ass off like everybody else. Who are, quote, Black people. But if you're denouncing that you don't like them because of feelings, or because they're not married to a Black person, because they married someone of another race, or if you don't like them because, quite frankly, they said something you didn't like, or they're of a particular, if they're of a particular political status, then the question is Black excellence a scam? Is it a scam? Maybe she can articulate it for me.
Capitalism. Black excellence is all about being exceptional, all about, beating the odds and going above and beyond and being extraordinary, right? And if you are ordinary or mediocre or regular or average, you are not seen as Black excellence. We are only celebrating people who go and beat the odds and, do the impossible. It's not about celebrating Blackness in general. It's all about a certain kind of Blackness, a better Black, if you will. And this is very reminiscent of like the Blue Vein Society. It's very reminiscent of white supremacy, that if you don't have access to these things, if you don't have these things, if you don't have clout, then you don't matter. What I also find frustrating is that
and how often do I say I believe that's a bad thing? I don't know why my mic keeps being adjusted to be dropping. I think it's something with StreamYard. So I gotta keep looking down to make sure. But I think that's a bad thing, that if you don't have clout, because I will say, for me, I believe that clout is associated with negativity, with very harmful actions and behavior. People like to say, oh, clout is just attention. No, attention is attention. Not all attention is good. And clout has been generally shown to have negative associations, not positive. Is that the best thing that we can aim for? Negative hype? I don't know.
Aligning with a system that literally oppressed us. We're aligning with a system that thrives today because of the enslavement of our ancestors. And so we are trying so hard to be accepted by whiteness that we are willing to cut off our Blackness or put down parts of our culture that aren't seen as aesthetically pleasing or as seen as close to whiteness as possible. And so for me, I have to question a system that requires me to be half of myself, or maybe 1/4 of myself, or 1/16 of myself to be seen as valuable, worthy, and loved. So no, I'm not interested. Another issue that I have with Black excellence is that it requires you to compete with other people, right? It requires you to compete in a competition that really doesn't exist. Just like the Hunger Games, like how.
So personally speaking, I'm going to disagree with her on this one. There is no system where you do not have to compete. I'm sorry, sister. Sorry, but there is no system where, quote, You do not have to compete. Competition is always going to be there. Competition is always fierce. The issue that I have, quote, with Black excellence, right, is who you have decided to only compete with. That's the problem that I have with Black folks in this whole Black excellence. You only compete with one other color. You believe somehow there's only chocolate and vanilla. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Rocky Road is out there. We got all kinds of butterscotch is out there. Only chocolate and vanilla is the only thing you care about? You see nothing else? You're a horse with blinders. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, but you know what? I didn't want to mention the green part, no chaser, because you know that's strictly for the Irish. That's why I just kept it vanilla. Because you know, to Black folks, like they're all the same. So I didn't want to leave a special spot just for the Irish. Okay. Huh. He said Black excellence is racist by its nature. Well, I'll tell you, like I said earlier, even when John was over here, there are definitely aspects of systemic barriers that have been placed. Whether you look at it in government systems, like I said, I've sat at multiple sides of the table when it comes to being in compliance, where I've seen things that are definitely not kosher for anyone to have to deal with, and quite frankly, there is a bias on the undertone when it comes to different races. I will definitely say that. I've definitely worked alongside people who, quote, they won't say that they're racist, but the way they move have definitely moved with a racist undertone. In fact, I have actually worked with other people who, quite frankly, they didn't have to say it, but everybody said it around them. When they were sexist, and they absolutely excluded men from everywhere, the most capable people to put in people in positions, namely women, who were unqualified, not qualified for the roles. I've seen all this stuff, and I've turned around and fought against it, and somehow, some way, I didn't lose my job. But don't think for a moment that I wasn't blacklisted, that all my responses and emails, whatever else, wasn't turned the wrong way until the last moment. So there are definitely some barriers for some races that they have to overcome. But I also don't follow the narrative about having just to just blame one particular race for things that also needs to be looked at within one's own culture. I will look at that as well, because as much as they do blame a particular race for, quote, the downfall, I also will say that I don't think they did a lot to really put themselves in the best light as well. That at some point you need to turn around and you need to look in the mirror. And also you need to start disavowing the people that are just not doing well for you. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Like, I don't look at other people. Like, I can't rest in the comfort of just saying that it's other people's fault that I'm in the position that I am in. And even if it is, it's still my responsibility to get the fuck up out that dishes they put me in. I can't just throw up my hands and just say I need someone else to take care of it for me. You said, again, there are people who, in general, whether it's racism, if you want to put it that way, or whether it's just straight up prejudice. Some people, quite frankly, not to say being in different areas, they run in cliques. What do you want to call it? By race? What do you want to call it by language? There are people that, because they all speak a language. Listen, I've run into people who are Asian that can speak fluent Spanish and hang out on the clique of people who hang out and be Spanish, and will have secret conversations against other people. So now you got Asians, you got Blacks, and you have Hispanics who can all speak Spanish, but somehow they have a clique now against people who are not. Spanish. People are very much in community, communal. They're very much communal. They will form cliques. They will form gangs. And me personally, I'm the kind of person that likes to disrupt that. I like to disrupt it because, quite frankly, there should not be cliques where we have a us versus them mentality. I say take that shit somewhere else. We don't need it in the terms of business. Go outside and go do your own thing. But I can't have it here in business because, quite frankly, it's supposed to be an area that's free and free of bias. That's strictly what it is. There are definitely going to be prejudiced people and even, quote, people who are racist. You can't do nothing about them. But the idea of what I'm covering in this part of, quote, Black excellence, when, quite frankly, I don't see a whole lot, personally speaking, that classifies as excellence, especially when we turn around and the people who are, quote, excellence, we don't want to acknowledge them or we tear them down, leaving no one else really to say. It's like the whole, who would you have as a leader for, quote, a particular race? Because I think there should be multiple people who do particular things. But I think that some people won't particularly pick a leader or even want to become a leader, even though there's big fucking arguments about leadership, by the way, because, quite frankly, they think they equate leadership with being a martyr, and nobody wants to be that. Just saying.
How that was manufactured. They were fighting in a big dome and people were watching the infighting, watching people slaughter each other for entertainment. It's the same way with Black excellence because it is capitalism. The powers that be, that majority, they're not ever going to see us as equals. They're not. It's just not going to happen. And yet we are still fighting each other, clamoring for the top spot of being Black excellence, as being the exceptional Black person, being, the wonderful Negro, so to speak, right? And so we're willing to do all these things in the name of whiteness, in the name of aligning ourselves with a system that is oppressive to our people. We're not going to win. The game is rigged. We need to stop playing it. Also, the majority doesn't care. The majority doesn't care. Literally, the founding fathers were not even thinking of Black people as equals or as people. We weren't even seen as whole people. And yet we think that's...
There's some debate about that one, by the way, because there was definitely talks about whether they want to free actual slaves that were here when they were trying to ratify the Constitution, and quite frankly, that vote fell to shit, and they realized that quite frankly, that might have been something that was beyond them. That's from what I understood. Take it as you will. You can say that's bullshit or whatever. This is what I've come to know when it comes to history. I could have been fed any kind of bullshit because, quite frankly, we're still over the whole idea of people banning books in schools and critical race theory and all the other dog and pony shit that people want to get caught up with. But you can also just take a look in your own history books. But of course, you're going to say that history books are, quite frankly, things that you can't even look at because even history books are racist and math is racist and reading is racist and whatever else. So I agree. People do rig their own games. You turn around and say you want to be you don't want to participate in a quote white system, but you have no other system to play in. You should stop playing it. Do you really believe that you're going to do well if you try to turn around and become a sovereign citizen? Maybe you will, but I got a good feeling, sister. You're not going to do that. You're not about to renounce everything to try to become a sovereign citizen. Just got a feeling.
Somehow we can win our way or work our way into their good graces. And I'm just not willing from...
And also, in addition to that, this idea of winning, this is an ongoing race. And quite frankly, it's silly to believe that in your lifetime, you're going to be any of the people who will win the race. This is a relay race. It is for you to pass the baton. It is not for you to try to finish the race. It is for you to get as much distance ahead of everybody else. Because quite frankly, the same way how I mentioned for everybody is born on different distances. If you want to look at it as a race, some are way ahead of you from the start, whether with economic class or wherever they were born, way ahead of you. There are some that are behind you. Some are gonna fall to the middle. Some are gonna come at the very front and gonna fall all the way back. Some are going to be all the way back, and they're going to work their ass all the way to the front. What type of person are you? You're not to finish the race. There were people who started the race before you. There are people who carried that baton. Some people have ran out of steam, but kept running and passed it on to the next person, who then passed it on to the next person, who passed it on to you. You're not going to finish the race. It's your job to keep going forward, to put yourself in the best position to pass it on to the next person. Stop fucking thinking that you need to win the race. You're not in the position to win the race. You're in the position to put yourself in the best spot possible to hand it off. That's it. That's it. Get that mindset out of your head. It is not for you to win anything. If this is boxing, we're not close to the 12th round. It is your job to make sure that you just don't get knocked out and have enough stamina so that we can just keep fighting, if you want to put it that way. That's it.
For myself, to do all that work in labor to be accepted by people who were my oppressors, who are my oppressors, I'm not interested in that. Also, the system is evil. The foundations of this country are that of exploitation, killing, robbing, pillaging, right? Like, this is what our foundation of our economic system, of what we find as ideal. And
by the way, this is a system that's been brought up by every major culture, every major nation that is up to date. They rob, they rape, they pillage, they claim land, and they made foundations based on the dead. Every nation has done it, not just this one only. Every nation has done it. Before we were even here, landed on Plymouth Rock. Before we ever were here, we were still slaves in many other areas. Whether you want to talk about slaves from one tribe to the next, or we were slaves over in Egypt before it heavily got taken over as Arab, or when we were looking at Persia's 2,000-year run, they had slaves. This is not just a U.S. thing. Everybody has gone through their bouts of slavery. Everybody has gone through their bouts of, quote, oppression. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sister. I just can't let you slide on that one alone. I can't. History has shown that humans themselves are oppressive. It's not just this government. It has been all governments. Do we not want to talk about what Great Britain has done to fucking India? What Spain has done to people? Do you not know who the conquistadors are? What Germany has done? The big fights that have been taking place for how many years between Japan and China? The shit that they... And then you want to talk about what happened here? There's well-documented history. The wars that happened in Ireland? Scotland? Are we really just going to forget about all these different things? Come on now. ETheMan, what's going on? Thanks for showing up. Like, there are multiple things that need to be looked at. So while you're making your particular points, I think there really should be an emphasis on being very open-minded about not just your own atrocities, but everybody's atrocities, that you can have a solid ground as to where you should be working from, where you should be potentially speaking from, so that, quite frankly, you don't have to worry about backpedaling in case someone who's actually paying attention to your words can corner you.
And celebratory, it's really evil and violent. And I don't want to play a part in that. I'm not interested in being Black excellence if that's what that requires. So even with the competition, you see people saying, oh, there can only be one. And the reason why there can only be one is that the powers that be created it that way, right? So if you're going to have an end with, you know, the powers that be that oppressed you at one point, you have to play their game. You have to play their game to be seen as equals. And so for some people, they're not willing to do that. And people who want to be Black excellence look down on people like that. Say, oh, it's your fault you're here. It's your fault you're impoverished. It's your fault you're disenfranchised. Just, you know, give up your Blackness to be accepted by these people. And some people are just not willing to do that. And I think that I'm one of those people. I'm just not willing to play that game because at the end, everybody loses. It's a losing game.
So I would love to know if you're going to mention what are your next intentions going on. Because I don't think you're going to mention that because you're no longer going to play the game that tent behind you is going to be your new home and you're just going to be a hobo. Somehow, I don't think that's going to be your strategy. I don't, honestly, I don't know if she's saying to give up your blackness. But then again, here's the funny part about that. Let's just ask the question, do we know of any other race that says that they can take away your ethnic card? As far as I know, I've only heard black people say that they can take away your quote black card. I've never heard of white people saying they can take away your card, Asians saying they can take away your card, Indians, whether you're that or feather, can take away your card. Like, these are not things that I hear. There are only people that I run across who tend to be of a melanated kind that can turn around and say they can remove your status, which I think is asinine, by the way. But the idea of even jokingly believing that that's a play or a ploy that can be, exploited is absolutely crazy. Like, everybody has quote had their turn in history. And quite frankly, if you don't position yourself in a particular manner, then you're not going to do well. But like I said, I don't think that she's going to give up all the worldly goods that she's already had right now so that she can become a hobo. I doubt that she's going to actually say that. And again, I'm not trying to shit on her because she says that she basically gave up on black excellence. But when you hear all the reasons that she claims that she's given up on black excellence, I kind of have to challenge it because you're looking to do it on a victim status. I'm giving up because you're saying, why bother? When I'm saying it's still not even close to being as bad as you claim it is, because as much as you're saying that you have oppressors, I will say this, you never have to walk around and have to show your freedom papers. You never have to really look over your shoulder, have to worry about being taken over to a plantation. Just keeping it a buck. What are you really saying when you're talking about oppression? I'm just being honest. What exactly do you really mean by oppression? What exactly do you really mean when you're talking about racism? If this was about other things, about how we view people of quote black excellence, and we don't really see that as the thing, that I'll rock with that. But I've already made plenty of cases for how I see it versus how other people treat it. But the things you're saying are cop-outs, in my opinion. Other people may agree with you. But again, it's not just me who thinks of things like this. I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna stop quote beating up on her because I don't want it to seem like I'm beating up on her. What about this woman here? Let's see what she has to say about it.
Some people may not be ready to hear this, but it needs to be said because I know for a fact I am not the only one who feels this. I know this. The idea of black excellence is exhausting. What about black mediocrity? Why can't that be a thing? And now let me explain. Let me fucking explain.
So she says, why can't black mediocrity be a thing? Why can't black people also be average? I don't think she's saying just everybody be average. I don't know because I haven't seen this video. So, but if she's going that route, I kind of agree. Because not for nothing, even black excellence can become exhausting because of how we and I will just say it this way, from the way that we promote the quote hustle culture when it comes to young people. And again, I just put a whole list out on basically everything from articles and everything of what people state quote is black excellence. but yet also how they treat people, quote, not in power, but in position of who we claim to be a Black excellence. Meanwhile, there are people who actually are a Black excellence that are, quote, not even really acknowledged. Welcome back, John.
Good to be back.
I'm waiting for someone to chew me out, actually. Because quite frankly, this is just my initial thoughts of everything being said. Now, I have no idea what this young lady's going to say. She says, rant, Black excellence is exhausting. Now, before I really hear anything she has to say, I'm really thinking to myself, right? There is a notion of people who are basically saying that it's a lot to have to go through Black excellence. Because people don't also think about all of the, I guess, the tropes, the bells and the whistles of all the things that you have to do and how you have to look the best for, quote, Black people. But at the same time, there's this unrealistic also expectation that is placed upon them, or rather, I guess I'll even put it in her point since she says mediocrity, that there is this push that all need to be excellence when, quite frankly, being average is also okay. Do you believe that we should all be excellent? That's not possible, by the way. It's an unrealistic expectation, but it's also okay to be average. It is okay to strive for common things when, quite frankly, they're even classifying Black excellence as just having common things. Oh, let's go.
Can I ask you a question before you start the video? Oh,
no, go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
So the question I want to ask you is, when it comes to Black excellence, I want to compare it to track. Are you running against the clock, or are you running against the person that's in the race? I guess would be your competitor.
Okay. According to the young lady who was there, she made it seem as if she was running against the clock, not running against a competitor. And in fact, in her mind, she's gonna give up in the race. She's gonna give up in the race. Yvette, what's going on? She was gonna give up. What's the point? And I'm like, no, you should just keep running. But the idea that you also believe that you're going to be the one to finish the race is also rather asinine. What's going on, man?
Well, this is an interesting statement because I'm trying to follow it. First of all, we're not talking about mediocre Black or Black mediocre. We're talking about Black excellence. And when we start talking about anything that is performed at the level of excellence, it's going to be complex. It's going to be hard. The majority of the population cannot do it. So when I hear people complain about how hard it is, yeah, why it's just such a toll on me, little poor Black woman, it's because it's designed to separate yourself from the rest. I've never complained about it. Even in my business, I've never complained about me meeting the standard and setting the standard. Because I believe in Black excellence, and I understand the reason we call it excellent is because excellent is another name for saying hard, but some must make it look easy.
So let me give you some context of some articles and things that I read, and also what they're considering to be Black excellence, and then let me just start off by first stating the things that I see that they quote as Black excellence, because we see it all the time, right? First of all, the first thing I'd like to eliminate, quote, from Black excellence, just from the conversation of the athletes and entertainers. I like to eliminate them from that. Because when you hear about people who start talking about Black excellence, those are the first people that they reach for. Yeah, there are different.
I just want to get a baseline. So okay. you eliminate them not because they're not excellent. You just feel like it's another group of excellent.
Yeah, okay, not because they're not excellent. Is that because that becomes the go-to? Is if that's the only way to actually be prominent. Like a good example was what John the Baptist mentioned. He mentioned Clarence Thomas. I mentioned what did I mention?
Ben Carson.
Regardless of how you feel about them, like how you feel politically about them, whatever, look at the position that they placed themselves in. We're not going to turn around and say they didn't put them in the position of, quote, to be excellent.
I agree.
You're not saying that they can't be in a position that, quote, is an example to be followed. They weren't just giving them millions. They weren't given an inheritance. They actually worked their ass up to get there. But yet people, especially when we're talking about Black people specifically, will get in their feelings about it and disavow them. And I think that is absolutely insane.
So, but I think what we got to understand is, anytime you're a minority in a group, you're going to be criticized for being the minority and going a different direction. So
Agreed.
I knew for a fact when I decided to do certain things, I knew. See, people don't understand with success comes scrutiny, and I know didn't say it the right way, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And I just
Agreed.
think that this idea that everybody's going to like me when I'm at the top of the mountain, it's not true. It's not true in anything. The reason we talk about LeBron James, I know you didn't want to talk about sports, is because he is on the top of the mountain. And I'm telling you, anytime that you have more people below you than above you, you know what's going to happen? The people below you are going to criticize you. And it comes with the job.
So I agree. So the reason why I say athletes and entertainers, because people like to compare situations to them, and I always say, assume you are not these people. Why don't you look at the people that, of quote, on a level that you actually could probably reach? You could, if you work hard enough, could become a Clarence Thomas. You could become a Ben Carson. It's
I'm gonna push
very
back.
rough. It is easy. It will be
Okay.
more feasible for you to get to their level than you trying to say that you can be Jay-Z, that you can be Beyonce,
but think about
that
this.
you can be LeBron.
I want to push back on what you just said, though. I think you're completely wrong. I think you're completely wrong. But do you think that the average person who want to go to law school can actually be Clarence Thomas?
So that's not the point. That's not the point that I'm making.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
The want is not the fact that they're capable of doing so. It is an easier path than believing that you think that you're the one in a million. There's a more feasible path to get to. Because why?
I can agree.
They didn't have to be exceptional from the start. They worked their way to grandness. They worked their way to greatness. They didn't have to turn around and say, I'm just going to be a great ball player. That's not reserved for everybody. But everybody who works hard enough can become a Clarence Thomas.
I would agree with your assessment, because I was thinking this as I thought about what we said earlier when we picked Clarence Thompson and Ben Carson as a standard of, as a picture of excellence, right? And I think, and what you just said just now, that it's easier to become Clarence Thompson than LeBron James, because I don't know how tall Clarence Thomas is, but I know I'm never going to be 6'8".
Well, you don't need to worry about height to be at the bench, because when you're sitting at the bench, you're taller than everybody anyway.
But this is what I thought. This is what I was thinking about as we was having this conversation. What I began to figure out is, like, when you turn 18 and you get millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's easy to build your values, your standards, and your morals when you already have the money in the bank. Now, when you're Clarence Thomas or Ben Carson and you have nothing, and at every stage of your educational achievements and your work achievements, academic and work achievements, you're meeting these challenges. That are not only you meeting these challenges, but these challenges are testing you in the principles and the morals that you are trying to adopt for your life. And yet you don't have the money to protect you from them, the challenges. And so you have to make decisions based on what you believe, what is the right choice, the right decision, and still stay above the fray, whether it be morally, politically, whatever it may be, and hold to what you truly believe in.
Yeah, I think y'all wrong. First of all,
Did you say that? Okay.
I'm about to tell you what you're wrong. Both of y'all wrong. And I'm gonna sum it up in a quick 60 seconds. I think we're first giving out a bad premise when we say that it's easy for us to do something that the top 1% of the 1% does. It's not easy. I don't care if you go to the athlete right or the lawyer right. We don't have the capacity to do it. I think it's easier to be an athlete because you're gifted with those things. These people, when we start talking about lawyers, had to naturally build themselves, and I don't think people have the mental capacity to be able to do that. So I actually think the natural gift is easier than actually building the mental capacity to compete it.
Okay, so now I actually think you misunderstood what we said, because I don't think neither one of us said it was easy. Matter of fact, I actually challenged Resla to make sure that he wasn't.
I would
Actually,
argue.
make sure.
So let me
Go
put it
ahead.
this way. I would argue that it would be a more feasible route to build skill than just to believe that everybody's got talent, got raw talent, that they can make it to the league.
Say that again. Hold on. Say it one more time.
I believe that it's more feasible for a person to quote go to law school and build skill, beating your fist against the pavement, than believing that everybody can just quote have enough talent. Because we're talking about talent versus skill. Not everybody's born with with the capacity of being a lawyer. I will agree with you, but you can build that skill. Not everybody's going to be able to build the talent to be a LeBron.
Well, that's the point that I'm trying to help you understand, is that I think it's a smaller group of people that actually have the mental capability. I don't even think so, like when we start talking about the mental capability of the top 1%. It's not even. We can say that they can go to law school. I don't even think they'll make it through the first semester. It's a reason why they have such a high failure rate. It's not just about you applying yourself. It's actually you actually having the capacity to actually do these things. Because if that's the case, why don't we have 20 to 30% of the population lawyers? Because
Well,
they don't have the capacity.
okay. Well, let me put it this way, because I say this all the time as well. Not everybody's supposed to be at the top, but when I hear these people who are complaining and saying that, why bother? Or I'll even go back to the beginning. I'm going to compare myself to quote things that quote came to raw talent, rather than I can go a route where I can actually build skill and it's feasible, because everybody can go to college. Everybody can put themselves in debt. Not everybody can be LeBron. Not everybody can just get picked up by the league. Not everybody can just get picked up out of high school to go to the league. Like that's delusional versus just saying I can make something of myself by just apply myself. You're right. I'll give it to you. Not everybody's going to be quote the 1%, but everybody has a path where they can make something of themselves, rather than just saying I'm going to be delusional. I'm going to compare myself against people who, quite frankly, are exceptional.
Well, see, and that's the point that I was making. I think we all can compare to the mindset that these people have. Because I think if I was to take this lawyer or a basketball player who makes it at the same level, they might have to do it two different ways, but their mindset typically are the same. So that's the part that I'm arguing, is either you got it or you don't. I think that if LeBron James did not go to basketball and he decided to go the career right, I think he still would have been part of the top 1%.
Say your last two sentences again. I don't think I kind of missed that.
I think if LeBron James did not go the basketball, say sports in general, if he didn't go the sports in general route, and he had to focus the type of attention he had put in basketball on a career, I still think that we would be calling him the top 1%.
I don't disagree with that. I agree. I agree with that, because I think in order to make it in any profession, you do have to have a mindset. We was talking about that last night. Remember, Resla, with that guy, that SEAL, the guy who was training for the SEAL.
Yeah, he was just
And the
about David
people,
Goggins.
yeah, yes, and you're right. It's that mindset. No
Are
matter
y'all talking
that
about
mindset
Goggins?
trend. Yes,
Yeah, he's talking about
Goggins?
Goggins.
Okay. Oh, that's my
yeah, the
guy.
mindset. Yeah, and what you're saying is true. And I actually agree with that, because no matter what you do, whether he played basketball, whether he was a lawyer, whether he was a doctor, his mindset is what you can't coach, you can't cheat, you can't train. It's the want to that maybe something in life happened to you, made you think this way, made you see the world this way. Everyone can't replicate that.
Absolutely.
Every,
So
everyone can't handle the adversity the same way everyone can't see adversity and handle it the way that you're going to handle it.
So I agree with you, right? I actually take both your points, and so I actually agree with it. Now, in reference to something that what this young lady is saying when she says black excellence is exhausting, is because there's a premise that basically says that everybody should be pushing black people to hustle to try to to compete against, I'm just going to put it up there, white people. But that's the way it's been framed in a lot of the articles and everything that I'm seeing. Never mind, there's so many other races that are here in America, but they're competing against white people and white people alone. And I think it's absolutely crazy. But to give you more context, ETheMan, for the things I see up there, the things they're classifying as black excellence, pretty much anyone can do. But the idea is that they're saying because they have so much systemic barriers beforehand that we should look at as quote being excellence. So I'll go back to some of the things they mentioned. To be able to go to college and get a degree, to be able to support a family on low income, to be able to let me go back to some of the things they said. To go to church and donate to the community. These are things that should be considered Black excellence. To have everyday resilience, which means the concept of extending and recognizing your strength and perseverance for individual overcoming challenges, like raising a family and contributing to your community. These are things that are considered excellent.
Well, then I'm excellent then.
Yeah, I don't think none of those things. I don't think they're using it properly because
I agree.
When I was thinking Black excellence, I was thinking someone who have mastered their trade, whatever it is.
That was Black excellence.
Yeah, so
that
Black excellence. So the point that I'm saying is like, a plumber who can go in and not only do what he's certified to do, but do everything in the plumbing world. He shows the level of excellence. A carpenter who can create anything by his eyesight. He's a level Black excellent. And well, first you got to be Black to be Black excellent. I think that's kind of in the definition. But I think it's about mastering your craft. I don't think it's about doing everyday tasks that normal people do.
And I'm gonna push back. Not that I think what you just said was wrong, ETheMan. I think what you're saying is true. I think the problem I have with what you're saying is in the name of the title of the program. Is Black excellence a scam? And I tend to think that title in itself, well, just the name Black excellence is a scam. And the reason why I say that because what we consider excellence. Now, once you say it's just Black, you're now saying you're only competing against Blacks to get it. I think it does us a disservice, and it limits our ability to truly be great when we say we're just excellent, regardless of what race we are.
Well, no,
I disagree.
That's not the point that I'm seeing, John. The point that I see with Black excellence is that there's a push for Black people to quote become excellent by all means. Where quite frankly, there are people who just they need to be okay with just being average, and not everybody can become quote excellence. That also, like this young woman saying her title, that it's exhausting because quite frankly, there is a reinforced stereotype of framing Black people to be successful by all means possible. It can be quickly burning out because not everybody's capable of doing that. Do you understand that, John? We might have lost him.
Yeah, so I'll respond. I thought he was going to respond. Yeah, so and that's the thing is that people burn out. Everybody's not going to be able to hit that excellent status, and I think it just shows that you're not part of that group. You might need to stay in your lane.
I agree. So when I don't know if the word what she said, did she say mediocre? What was her word that she wanted for people? I think Black people are also okay with being average, and then we have those who actually come to rise to prominence. But this, like I said, the idea that everybody should start trying to be, because that's the thing about Black excellence that I'm having a problem with, and when I read these things, and also that the people who are at the top, when they're there, what happens to the scrutiny that they get when they quote are slipping or they fall from grace? It's very heavy. Heavy as the crown, right? But then again, the people who are, and I'm trying to get away from athletes and entertainers who are actually up there, it's more of a feelings game rather than what they've actually produced themselves. Like there are people who rag on Shannon Sharp, right? And again, he's both now an athlete and an entertainer. But they rag on him. And I'm like, no, he's definitely produced. He's still producing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We wouldn't call these Black people the cream of the crop if they wasn't better than somebody else. To be excellent, you have to be compared to the standard. And I think this is what a lot of people don't want to talk about. So it's not about me actually just being a master of my craft. Let me give you an example in sales, right? So I'm in sales. The average people on my team do roughly about 80 sales a week, right? So for me to be considered excellent, I have to excel against an average, against a norm. And I think some people just don't understand this. They don't. They don't understand what it takes, what it looked like, and then the first thing is, how do we measure black excellence? That's a whole nother conversation.
Yep, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that, and that's something. That's the funny part. I've never actually seen that question in anything that I was looking at. It was just a push to be excellent, and again, most of the people that they use are fucking entertainers. We're talking about people who throw away their money. Are we
Yeah,
really
so
going to look at them as the poster child?
that is true, and it is a formula to measure it, right? So what you do is you take what the average of the population, the average of the group, so average sales guy, average this, and then what you do is you typically multiply it by 175%. So in sales, for me to be considered an excellent sales rep, right, or wave above average. If the average people are doing 100, I have to do 175 to be considered excellent, a master. And not only do I have to be doing 175, I have to be doing 175 right. I can't be cutting corners, different things like that. And another thing is I should know my craft to a point where I can coach it and teach it. That's another level of excellence. Not only you can be able to do it, can you actually coach someone to be able to either
And
meet
you
the standard
replicate it.
or exceed the
Absolutely.
standard?
Absolutely.
So, but like I said, a lot of people just talking. I learned when YouTube they turned on that live button and they said anybody with a mic can come on here and talk. What it really becomes is the bathroom walls of society. People start quoting things and they think they speaking very philosophical about different things. In reality, that's not what it is. What they is they want to complain, because this is what I look at it as, people complaining about being able to be more than the average person.
Well, that's exactly what I've seen with this quote hustle culture, and we want to flip this and flip that, and I'm just like, what happened to just actually just building values and building with people? Like not everybody quote can be an entrepreneur, and even a question that I had earlier that popped up in the chat when we were talking about excellence equaling success, and I said absolutely not. There's a difference. There's a strong defined difference. Because being, as I mentioned before, success is measured by that individual themselves. Excellence is seen externally. If you have a beauty parlor and you got no employees, you're a solopreneur. You're not necessarily an entrepreneur. Everything's just predicated on you and what you do for your business. When you make a big enough business that you hire people and they're predicated on you having a successful business, because now, quite frankly, their lifestyle, their livelihood, how they can take care of their families is predicated on you. We can look at that and start getting to excellence.
Yes. So well, let me ask you, because so you said that when you have multiple people, that's a form of excellence, because it's. Say that again. Just say it one more time for me, please.
When other people's livelihood is also predicated on your success. Them having
Oh,
a job is
absolutely.
based on the fact that you're successful.
Yeah. So, but that's the key is. So the key is when other people are based on, but that's not excellence. See, that's only success. That other people are actually depending on my success. I mean that I'm successful and it's actually overflowing to others around me or in my circle.
Well, the part that I mentioned is that when I mention success, because everybody measures success differently. To you, all you have to worry about is really measuring success for yourself. Like, everybody has their own opinions. But as far as externally, they can say that you're being excellent because, quite frankly, their own livelihood is tied to you. So you may not even see yourself as successful because you're looking at something else.
So, but that's the point. Success is based on what the standard is. And see, that's what I'm saying is I get that we be
Right.
like, oh, you successful because you get your kids every weekend, and then we measure it against somebody who don't get their kids. You say,
Right.
I'm more successful than him. You know,
Right.
the greatest thing I ever heard somebody say, right? We was talking about diet, right? And I remember we was going through this
Okay.
thing, and they was telling me broccoli bad for you. All these different things are bad for you, right? And then the greatest thing this young man said, he said, compare it to what? If you don't compare it to nothing, we can't really call it
You can't
success.
really measure. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So that's what I tell people. Okay, cool. What? So like when I start talking about success, I said, cool. All right, you in let's say IT, right? What
Mhm.
is the average black man making in IT? I don't measure you against the garbage man because it's not the same field. But I say, hey, what is the average man making in IT? If you say, hey, check this out, I'm making 100,000. The average man making $100,000. You're average
You're
in the
average.
IT
Exactly.
world. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
not. And so what we do is we'll try to take this guy that's making 100,000 and bring this the lunch lady or the lunch man, and then be like, hey,
Yeah.
check this out. He's above average. No, he's not. He might be above average in the world of black people, but he's only average in the career that he chosen.
Well, that's part of the argument that, and I totally disagree with the young lady in the previous video was stating, because she's literally equating 14%. We're talking about black people, 14% versus the entire nation of white people. That's ridiculous. And again,
But we always
and not even looking at all the races, just white people. That's a big problem when it comes to this.
correct, and that's the point that I said. Because if we go look at the average white person, the average white person ain't doing well.
That's
They're not.
correct.
So what we do is like even when we start talking about like the amount of money blacks make versus whites, right? We'll go.
Hmm.
What we want to do is we want to go get the multi-billionaires and compare them to the McDonald's worker. Those
Yep.
things are not equal, and what happens is your scale is not balanced, and it makes you have unbalanced arguments. So I'm cool with it. You can do it if you just want to paint a narrative, but let me compare apples to apples. That's the one thing. When I was in college, they said, "Hey, we're gonna use statistics. Let's take two things of the same to compare them. Let's like." And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. The people don't say, "Okay, if I'm going to measure you, I want to measure you against the black lawyers. And if I really want to measure you, how about I just measure you to the lawyers in this space in general?"
Absolutely. And I'd
So
be happily all right with that.
yeah, so because I can tell you right now, when I go into a sales company, I don't ask who's the best black person. Who's the best, and I'm coming for you. And I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let everybody know. I'm gonna write my name on the board on top of yours. That I'm coming for you. So I don't know why people get so caught up in color, because in reality, when they get caught up in color, it actually limits them.
You heard this woman right now. You heard this last woman. She was giving up practically on life. She's giving up on everything. She said she was oppressed. Why bother? It's a white system. She gave all the excuses that she possibly could. And I think it's absolutely insane.
But that just shows that this woman don't want to compete. She really didn't want to compete. What she want to do
Yeah.
is
She said, you can't compete. And I'm like, no, you can't compete. Because
yeah.
she kept saying, you can't win. I said, who told you were supposed to win? You're supposed to compete. Who told you there was an end goal? You have to do the best you can. You don't know when the time ends, when the clock ends. You think there's a clock and you have to be the one to beat it. You're not that special.
Well,
Just do the best that you can.
I tell people all the time. My mama growing up said it's a person when a person said they can't and a person said they can, they both right.
You're usually right.
Which one?
Yep.
Which one are you gonna choose? So I believe her. I believe when she says she can't, but it ain't got nothing to do with me. I tell people don't push over your limitations on me, because I see this all the time. Especially they're like, I remember when we was doing this project and they was like, "It's no way you can do that in 24 hours. It's no way. It's like impossible." And I said, "It's no way you can." And so what we see is a lot of people, especially in this black excellent conversation, they're pushing their limitations onto the other black people, which I think is crazy and chaotic.
But we see it so often. So I typically don't fall for those narratives, and I try to tell people, stop listening to that shit. Like, you really do an assessment on yourself and say what your strengths are. Stop letting other people basically saying it because they gave up. Don't do it. Just do not do it. Welcome back, John.
Yeah, John just left us hanging. John, who was in the middle of a conversation. John just had to go. Look at leaving us hanging
Quiet.
again.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
but I do gotta get out of here. So the question is, what do you think her motive or agenda for making this video? Because I want to see if we are aligned.
This particular one?
Yeah, so the first one, not this one.
Oh, well, she already. We didn't see all of it. But I think her agenda is basically saying that she's basically over it. She doesn't think that, quite frankly, it's a worthy goal to try to make something of yourself. Because, quite frankly, you'll never be better than, quote, your white counterparts. That's what I believe she's trying to say.
I think she's trying to get people to accept failure.
Yeah, I agree with that. To just give up, and we'll just always be at the bottom.
I think her goal is to get people to accept failure, accept your place, and stay in your place. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I heard give up, why try? That's exactly what I heard.
All right, cool. But appreciate you having me on. I just wanted to come and drop a little nuggets over here. I don't see you live often. I said, let me come over here.
Sir, I appreciate you coming by. I go live only twice a week, right? Well, technically 3 times a week. So usually my lives are on Wednesday at 4 Eastern, and Saturdays at 4 Eastern. And then OG and I, we also do an overnight show at 1 p.m. I'm sorry, at 1 a.m. Eastern. We do a show called the Drop By Discussions on Tuesday nights.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely got it. So I got a business to run. That's why I'll never see you. I just happened to I had to take someone to an appointment today, so I was off, and I called it. So this is a great show, man. Keep doing what you're doing, because this is a different level intellectual conversations that we don't see, and it actually make people not only be able to give people another intellectual standard, but it also question the BS that people are putting the narratives on Black people. So I like what you're doing over here.
I appreciate it. That's the whole theme of how we're taking the show. We want to look at narratives and talking points and really get down to the real discussions.
All right, and I got it all just on one show. So you have a good day, my man.
All right, man. Thanks for coming by. John, are you with us again? Or are you out there flying helicopters? Oh, John's out there flying helicopters. That's what's happening, guys. All right, let's see exactly if I'm going to be on the money as to what she was saying. By the way, guys, the link is still up there. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. I'll take anyone who's coming in. You don't necessarily need to be on camera, but then you stay the hell off of camera if you don't want to be on camera. Oh, John totally dropped out as I thought he was going to. He really wants to pay attention to helicopters. But let's just say that she's going to say it's very exhausting. And what she plans on actually putting in her mind is saying that people don't need to be excellent. They just need to be average. Let's see if she's going to actually do that.
And like so many of us have gotten the talk from our parents. They're like, you got to work twice as hard or 5 times as hard as the next white kid to get to the same place that they're at or whatever. And so a lot of us worked so fucking hard that we developed anxiety in our adulthood. Because we're like, we've got to be the best. You got to be the best. Like, you cannot be average. And it's exhausting. It's like, you cannot be Black and average. Actually, being average can be a fucking death sentence. Being anything less than extraordinary, being anything less than an extraordinary Negro can be a death sentence. What do I mean by that? Oh my gosh. What about like George Floyd? For one fucking thing.
Okay, so she kind of leaned where I thought she was going, but I don't know where she's taking this George Floyd. I need to know where she's going to take George Floyd, because I don't think he should be hailed as a hero. Oh my goodness, where's she about to take this?
They killed this man, and the first thing that they do is they go and they look up this man's criminal record and use that to justify his fucking death, when no sane person on earth would agree that whatever crimes he committed warranted fucking death. But that's the first thing that people go to look at. They look at your fucking background. If you are anything less than exceptional, then that could be a fucking death sentence for you. It's like, look, this guy wasn't worth this. It is basically saying like, hey, this person wasn't worth shit in their life because they weren't the first Black astronaut to land on Mercury or whatever. Like, that's literally the vibe. And you know,
that's funny. That's very interesting that she says that, right? Because quite frankly, there's a big push, as she says, and I totally wholeheartedly agree with it, that there's a strong push for everybody to try to, quote, be excellent if you're Black, right? But a guy who literally died, didn't die in a great way, who had his history looked back into, he was pushed up, he was used and propagated to be heralded basically as people somehow effing champion. And that should not have been a thing. We should have been like, oh wait, this is a terrible thing that happened. He shouldn't have been that shouldn't have happened to him. But we're not gonna sit there and hail him. We're not gonna do movements and anything. The man had a whole fucking statue made. But I have to turn around and say, so what was the statue of Trayvon? Oh, everybody forgot about Trayvon Martin. Where was it? Where was his statue? For him defending himself and getting clipped. With this guy, he already had priors and everything against him. But we hailed him as somehow some kind of freaking herald? That's crazy. And then, what happened to y'all movement? Yeah, I'm gonna say y'all Black Lives Matters movement. Y'all allowed a bunch of basically heretics to come through and steal from y'all. And none of y'all went out your way to drag these heifers out of their house? Because what's the money that went to George Floyd's family? How much was that exactly? You do the math.
There's so many Black excellence pages out there that are like, this fucking kid got accepted to 6 Ivy League schools and they have a 5.0 GPA and all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I am so fucking happy for those people and for those kids. I have been those people. I have been those kids. But you do not need to be ridiculously excellent for your life to matter. You do not have to be the
What exactly do you mean by that? I'm trying to understand this one. So you say the average Black man is under average, if that makes sense. I don't think I agree with that. Most men have average jobs. Most men are sitting making average wages somewhere between the 40s and the 50s. They're not sitting below making 30s and such. There are a lot of men who have jobs. They have regular jobs, making average salaries. Now, will I say that all of them? But there's a good chunk of them that's making 60 and above. But I won't say that a lot of them are making 60 above. The average salary is close to the upper 40s to 50s, which is decent depending on where you live. So I can't say that the average man is under average. And then you would have to say under average compared to who? Are you saying to Black women? Then, okay, they've definitely risen up because, quite frankly, they were under. But if you have to ask on general, if you look all around who makes more money, it's still a lot of men that still make more money because they do jobs that, quite frankly, a lot of the ladies don't do. So, at what point were you saying that they're under? Depends. I might have to do the numbers on Hispanics. Whites, yes, but whites are not sitting at the top. Yes, you didn't know that, right? Asians are sitting at the top. They have the most wealth. And here's another thing that people are grossly underlooking. So you brought whites and Hispanics, right? Indian people. They're so quiet. They make a lot of money. Like Indian Asians, they make a shit ton of money. And they're so quiet. Most people do not pay attention to them. They make a shit ton of money. I will not lie to you. Their numbers are big in comparison to us. Most people don't pay attention to quote dot Indians. But they are making buku money over us. Most people can only pay attention to who they see, which is depending on where you are, you mainly see Hispanics or you mainly see white people. With those guys, they're killing it. Oriental Asians and Indian Asians are making a shit ton of money. But yet, they're the ones that are not mentioned because we got to look at the people that are mainly in our face. But when we look at actual statistics, we can see the difference. It's just a matter if here's the thing, you cannot tend to see the truth if you're walking around with clouded eyes. You got to be like, it's the same thing like we're talking about these people who are quote blackity blacks. They think that the only race that they have to measure themselves up to are white people. And I'm like, you're absolutely insane. When literally we can say that white people have the largest demographic, Asian people have the smallest demographic, and they're making all that fucking money. Insane. But people don't, when it comes to black people, they're not looking at Asians. But white people are looking at Asians. Just saying. Just saying. When it comes to having our eyes on the prize, our eyes on the ball, we miss it. It'd be sitting right there in front of my face, and somehow we miss it. Just saying.
First black astronaut to land on Mercury for you to matter. Like, that should not be a thing. It might be controversial, but black mediocrity should be treasured. That is a right. The right to be mediocre and average. The right to be mediocre and average even is hard. Like, is something that we have to strive for. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, even like the Central Park Amy situation, where she was, obviously like very clearly in the wrong, and of course they looked up the background of the black man that she harassed, and they're like, oh, look at him, he's educated, he does bird watching, like he's
so you let me address that. Like, okay, so you say whites not being at the top doesn't refute my point. Let me ask you this. How long have black people been here, right? I'm just going to put this out there. How long have black people been here? Whose fault is it that black people are not sitting at where they are? Or are we going to blame that all solely on white people as well? Remember, when are we going to take a little bit of self-ownership for the things that quote, we allowed? The assimilation, the not spreading out the way that we need to. I made this claim before, right? And I'll make it a claim again. Black people mainly are packed up on top of each other. That, let's just say if you had a North Korea, if you had a Russia, and they aim nuclear weapons at just all your major cities, you take care of most of your black population because we don't spread the fuck out. Why are they easy targets? You know what's part of the reason why? And I'm just gonna say it, and this is just my opinion, my conspiracy, my thoughts. One of the reasons why there's so much black on black crime is because we don't spread the fuck out. It's because we don't give each other enough space to fucking breathe. Would you disagree with that? Because we claim there's a black community, but what community is going out their way to keep harming each other in such great numbers? Is that really communal? I think if we learn to spread the fuck out and we actually learn to cultivate actual families and actual structures of families, we'd have larger numbers. And with larger numbers, we have more economic turnover. There's not really a big push for, quote, wealth, generational wealth, old money, collective money, and collective communities when it comes to money, when it comes to black people. They don't. Look at most of your cities, which a lot of black people congregate around, right? A lot of people congregate around. Look at all those cities, all your hoods, all that dirty shit, right? Who are the people that own most of your grocery stores, your bodegas, your fast food places? They're not black people. You know what black people own? Salons, mainly, and barbershops. The other things that actually help drive businesses, they're owned by Arabs, they're owned by Hispanics, they're owned by Asians. It's their fault. It is black people's fault for not taking investments within building up their own communities. I'm going to keep it a buck. Because we like to look at things that make you feel good, look good, not do good. It's all about perception when it comes to Black people, not about production. That's the reason, quote, why we're sitting behind economically. One, we're all up under each other. Two, we don't produce the things that everybody else needs. Not everybody needs a fucking haircut. Not everybody needs their hair and nails did and butterfly fucking lashes and fucking weave. But everybody needs food. How many Black people do you know that own construction companies? What's good, OG? Sorry, I'm little things like that I have to address.
Oh no, you good, brother. Keep on doing your thing. Hey, I'm listening, dog. Hey,
because when we hear that these things happen, we have to look at the ownership. It's not their fault. It's the people that didn't do what. Because if this was a city by city thing, if we said this is something that's happening in California, Fredo, I would agree with you. But if you can look city by city from coast to coast and you're seeing the same results, collectively, Blacks are fucking up. I can't hold that against anyone else. We gonna say that there's a big foot on everybody across every nation, that they're all making the same decisions collectively? Even if you want to look at it, quote, on a comic book basis, right? Metropolis, despite the fact that it has fucking crime, Star City, despite the fact that it has crime, Gotham, despite the fact that it has crime, the actors, the vigilantes work differently. Their people work differently. Even the type of crimes that take place are typically not the same. But yet somehow, if we have New York, if you're Chicago, if we have San Francisco, or rather Los Angeles, we can see the same results. Seattle? What's going on here? So no, I'm sorry. But collectively, there's too much of a negative mindset because Black people don't spread themselves out. And they're not good at building businesses because they only want to build the same shit. How many businesses do we see by Black people that want to do barbershops? And OG, because you just remind me, barbershops, salons, and while I don't have a problem with it because technically it's food, doing barbecues. See, I can rock with the barbecue places as long as they get their prominence and they spread out. But there's not even a lot of them that actually get the chance to do that. Because that means that it requires you to actually build a brick and mortar and actually spread out. Not just build a home where you are. Because when I think of people who spread out, they're not even Black. I look at Fogo. Fogo has spread. Sir, I have still never seen the Wing Hut yet. And everybody talk about it. Because it hasn't spread. Oh, sorry, not Wing Hut. Turkey Leg Hut is what they call it. But I hear great things about it.
But it's only in one location, though.
Right, because it hasn't spread out.
But see, that's the thing. So I'm listening to the conversation, and so do you believe that for you to be prosperous, that you have to spread out?
Absolutely. Because we live in a not only a society, but we live in a market that we have to capitalize on everything. And you cannot be known in one location. Again, I have never experienced the Turkey Leg Hut, but you believe that I should fly across the nation for it? No, it's the same way how I say this about people who have businesses, right? You should be spreading far and wide to get as many dollars in your pocket, and you can't do it from one area. You cannot. You must take over. The greatest franchise to take over shit is McDonald's. They couldn't do it in just one location. There's nowhere you cannot go that does not have a McDonald's. Hell, even if you want to say to places that we don't pay attention to, look at a Denny's, look at a fucking Waffle House. They're everywhere.
Yeah, but okay. So the thing I'm gonna say about that is this, bro. Me and you have two different mindsets, and I see where yours is coming from. It's coming from the, I guess, the global scale. You know what I'm saying? This is something that's been practiced, something that happens all over. But the reason why me asking you, do this type of company have to upscale itself like that, bro? It's only to match your merit. Because when I was listening earlier, bro, the question that came upon where old girl was up here talking about you got to prop yourself up and do all this other stuff. That's the problem that I have with her conversation, because you don't have to, bro. There's nothing wrong with being average, bro.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not disagreeing with that.
But even a person like the Turkey Leg Hut, you know, I was thinking the same thing. Why the niggas ain't doing? Why they ain't got all these locations, and why they ain't spreading their wings? Why ain't in California? Why ain't in ATL, supposed to be the Black Mecca? You know what I mean? Florida, Black Mecca. You know what I'm saying? These are places where your business should be able to go to and do very, very good. I mean, like you saying, well, the Walmarts, the Targets, you know what I'm saying? All these places like that, bro. And we're not just talking about food, we're just talking about business, period, y'all. When they move to these places, they go to their market. So I get what you're saying about that, but if a person is doing fine and steady where they is, and to get in, just to be known across the United States in one location, bro, that ain't bad.
I hate to tell you this, but if it wasn't for the fact that I talk to people online who live in those areas that can tell me about the Turkey Leg Hut, I would have never known about it at all. I've never heard of Turkey Leg Hut prior to me speaking to someone who's actually in Texas.
I get it, and that's the appeal of everything else. There's a lot of nuances to go with that. You know what I'm saying? Marketing and promotion and everything else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But to say that these people should be like everybody else, bro, that's the problem I have with
earlier. Well, take it to the point that I made earlier. How many cities have how many communities of Black people, and they don't open up the things that are actually beneficial for those communities?
Well, see, that's where we differ at, bro, because it always goes back to the same cycle. Everybody opens up the barbershop. Everybody opens up the clothing store, the salon, the restaurant, you know what I'm saying? Any type of business you could say, bro. Black people then down there got into that type of business, but they might not be as best as the people that's at the top. But everybody
everybody can open up an Associated or C-Town or whatever, a food lion or whatever you want to call it. Hey, you can open that up.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, everybody wants some. Look, we comparing everything that a Black person does, we compare it to the standard of a big top company. So if you don't matter, let me give you an example.
Sweet Georgia grocery store. That's not a big company. It's a grocery store.
Well, again, you're not talking about I
said grocery store.
Well, that's what I'm getting. But I get when you say grocery store, bro, because I can mention some places out here in Oklahoma that you'll never see nowhere else, just because they are family-owned grocery store. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the Tom Thumbs. They don't have the Harps. They don't have the Fiesta. They don't have the infrastructure to push everything out like that. Even though they're making good profit and doing good for themselves, you know what I'm saying, and everything so forth. But they don't have everything to push everything out into a big company like that to become public, to become commercial.
Want to monopolize, right? Maybe they don't want to monopolize. But
that's the thing, Resla.
But why
the monopolizing part?
But what if there's not? Here's the problem. You're speaking to one person, one group, one family, whatever, in one area. The nation is large. Nobody else can think of that same thing. Here's my thing. The one family that decides to be the only one people that open up a grocery store when the nation is wide itself, but the predominant thing that gets opened up is beauty supplies. How come everybody can figure out beauty supplies, but they can't figure out grocery store? Everybody has to eat. Like I said, not everybody has to get a haircut. Not everybody has to get new kicks.
I get that point, bro.
Everybody has to eat every day.
But it's still not the point, bro. You don't have to. I mean, again, that's where we're gonna divide it, bro. Because in the social I struck, bro, you're gonna see it as they need to monopolize. I don't see it as they need to. You don't have
Even
to
if you
follow.
take away,
You
even
don't
if
have to. You don't have
OG,
to follow
even if you
everybody
take
though,
away that
bro.
aspect, even if you have to take, even if you dismiss the whole aspect of monopolies, why aren't you just opening up the things that actually matter in communities? Take away the whole spreading. Just in your fucking community, can someone open up the things that actually matter? Because having a shit ton of liquor stores, having a shit ton of churches, having a shit ton of barbershops, having a shit ton of fucking hair salons every other block is not helping the community.
I understand that, bro, but that's not what all they opening,
Again,
bro.
no monopolies. Just open up the things that actually people have to do to survive. That's food.
I get that,
That's
bro, but
infrastructure.
everybody's not opening up barbershops in what you call it, bro.
That's not what I see, sir.
That's I'm telling you, bro. We see two different things. Again, bro, you got to think about it. I'm in the farmers market, bro. That's the only
What
thing
did I say? Did I mention the suburbs or the sticks right there? I mentioned literally people who are in cities. I was very specific when I said cities. They're living on top of each other. These are the things that are seen.
Okay, Resla, I get what you're saying, bro. Let me say this and just give me a few minutes to explain what I'm saying, bro. I live in the country. I don't sell product in the country, sir. My money section is not in the country. You know where it's at? It's in them cities you're talking about. Because those city limits is the ones that productively open these markets for us. To open up a market in my area, bro, is going to be hell. When they already got something set up in the city where I can go and supply all these black folks that get all these subsidized amendments, snaps, and all that shit. I get that shit. When I take my corn, when I take my tomatoes and stuff, I don't take them to the rinky-dink Army Corps up here where they sell hay and shit. I take that shit to Arkansas. I take that shit to a main city that's big and predominantly a lot of people. So again, I see people, bro. Again, we see two different things, and there's nothing wrong with that because you seeing it from your perspective. And I get what you're saying, bro, that you see only black people open up certain things. But again, bro, I see black people open up a lot of different businesses that contribute throughout the community. From people working on streets, because you got to remember, I'm in a rural area, bro. So we just now getting people to come out here and do concrete. I'm not seeing Hispanics out here doing that all the time. I'm seeing blacks. I'm seeing whites. I know people, bro, who come to the shop, bro, and come and buy weed. And believe me, bro, it's all walks of life, and they all have businesses, bro. And that's not just one sector that they sticking on to. In different areas of the world, I can understand that in some places you're gonna have a lot of barbershops, you're gonna have a lot of beauty salons, you're gonna have a lot of stuff that people are gonna sell shoes, people are gonna sell the niggerish shit, I guess is what you want to say. But if you're gonna say like entrepreneurs just open up a grocery store, bro. I know several black-owned grocery stores. They just not as popular as a Fiesta. They're not across the world, so you may not know about them. But it's people that frequently shop there. Yeah, their business might not be as good as Walmart because they don't have all the amenities and the stuff that Walmart can get by distribution and all the rest of that stuff. So I understand that, but that's the reason why I was going to get. That's why I said give me some time, bro, because you're talking about a system, bro, that was put together, bro, for a company to survive. These companies, bro, without these distribution centers, without putting this stuff in the infrastructure like you was talking about, they wouldn't be where they at. And for those companies to do, they had to put in work. So other people have to do the same, bro. It's just not going to pop up and you got one grocery store, you do prosperous there, you open up another one, then you open up another one, then you open up another one. Eventually, bro, you're going to have to open up a whole new subsection because you trying to get all that stuff delivered to you, to your 3-4 stores, bro, it's not going to work like that no more. What you're going to have to do is consolidate all that business, open up another business to where you have a warehouse now so you can supply your own chain and demand. It's the same thing, bro. When I used to work for the hat company, the cardboard company, everything is basically the same, bro. They set up infrastructures like you were saying. So if you're saying that black folks don't have that set up, I see that set up. I just don't see the big companies. Again, I don't see a black person like Damon John who own, you know what I'm saying, FUBU and shit like that. I don't see these people, bro, out here with a dealer store. I get that. I don't see them with a JC Penney's. I don't see them with a whole mall. You know what I mean? But that's not saying, bro, that they're not out here doing stuff in the community. It's not saying like they not just, again, they don't have They might not have the biggest thing, bro. They might not have the biggest company because, like, again, we
They
keep
could
on
have
going
small
to the.
stuff. I'm literally looking it up right now.
I understand, but we keep on going to the biggest companies that there is, bro.
How many times have I also said small? You keep going back. I say,
no. But even if it's
small grocery stores, I'm looking at it right now. There's still way more white people own those stores than black people.
I understand that. I'm not okay. So let me, before we start arguing anything, what do you believe I'm saying?
Even if you take away the chains, bring up the things that are actually important for survival, that actually contribute to communities. I'm sorry, haircuts are not it. Liquor stores are not it.
Haircuts and liquor stores, bro. That's again.
And again, I mentioned the cities. I specifically mentioned cities. I didn't mention the country.
That's why I'm asking you, bro. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. What do you believe that I'm saying that's disagreeing with you on the black subject, on them open up between small and large businesses? What is the difference between me and you saying? So I can make sure we're on the same page.
Because you keep going back to the large business. I say you can even take that away. Fuck the monopoly. Fuck the Walmarts. I said a small grocery store. I said that several times. You keep talking about the big chain. I said you can even take that away. Just small grocery stores. The things that actually matter in a community.
Well, that's
they're not really running that. I'm looking at actual percentages right now. They don't have it. It's other people who come in their neighborhoods who own those things.
This is crazy.
And it's disheartening.
So you saying by the percentage that black people don't have no type of grocery stores and nothing like that, just by what you looking at the percentage. Very few. Okay. So the very few is what I was talking about, bro. That's why I was asking you to clarify.
Literally have a study of 10 major U.S. metropolitan areas, and I was very specific when I mentioned cities, metropolitan areas. They're getting washed by other communities, and again, we're talking about their communities. They're getting washed by other people who are coming in, and that's my thing. Help do the things that actually help your community survive, so that they don't have to worry about other people having to feed them. That's my thing. But I don't think these things are very highlighted because we're so busy on the outlook. And I'm not saying it's everywhere, but I'm saying there's a lot. Because quite frankly, I said, if we spread out, we would see more diversity. We would see more businesses. But we stay stacked up on top of each other. It's a point that I made several times.
Yeah, I heard you when you said that point. I wasn't even, if I said I wasn't talking about the point of us stacked on top of each other and we need to spread out. I agree with you what you need to spread out thing. I was just talking about the business period, bro. Because like I said, I wasn't trying to make it seem like it was a big and small thing. But if you want to stick to you saying I keep on going to big, I'm gonna stick small, bro. Again, I can always give you example, bro, of that type of situation you're talking about with a grocery store that's small. So what do you think happens to the product, bro, when we can't sell it at the farmer's market? You think we get rid of it? Do you think we get rid of it? Or do you think we waste it?
No, I'm pretty sure it gets distributed to other places. Now, what they do with it, I couldn't tell you because, quite frankly, in metropolitan areas, if they can't sell things around, I can tell you it gets trashed. Not because of how businesses. Because I can say from being in business, how businesses behave. They don't just start giving that shit away to like Salvation Armies or food kitchens. I wish they would. Because I can't tell you how many times that fucking supermarkets become wasteful, and it hurts. Especially when they talk about the homeless populations that they have. It hurts to see tons and tons of trash of good food get thrown out. It really grinds my gears.
Okay. So I'm gonna say this: when we can't sell that product, what we do is we monopolize our product to a company, bro, or companies that can be able to take that product. You know who don't take that product?
Who?
The big companies that we're not going to talk about. It's all of those small chains that you're talking about. So again, I see between two different states, Oklahoma and Arkansas. I haven't made it to Kansas yet because I haven't broadened myself like you were saying black people need to do. We need to broaden ourselves so I can go to Texas and Kansas and Colorado.
For clarification, those small companies that are buying the additional products that you couldn't have to the first company. These are black businesses.
Some of them are, not all of them. I'm just giving an example of, because I was just
But
going to. Okay.
my question, because I'm trying to figure
Go
out
ahead.
how many of them are actually the black businesses that are actually buying it.
Well, for what I know,
and again,
it's two of them.
If you don't know, it's fine. I'm not trying to hold you.
No. From what I know, it's only two of them.
Okay. All right.
It's only two of them, because everywhere else in the market is either saturated, bro, with a big company. So I didn't want to bring the big companies into it. You know what I'm saying? So right. I want to stick to the small. So when you got these small the moms and pops, they do what they can, bro. They got to get a distribution line that's not the same as the big companies, because they can't go through the same line that the big companies go through. Them big companies not going to. Again, these companies, bro, set up deals with these folks that sell these products to them, that they want them to stay with them. Mm-hmm. Some companies get to migrate and do certain things because of how much product they have. So a person like me, you think I'll be able to supply Walmart? No. You know what I'm saying? So I can supply myself in the community that I'm in, and then make some extra money going to a local grocery store that's able to take that product.
In fact, I'm for big companies not pushing small mom and pops out, because they're very beneficial for the community. I don't like the idea that places that offer food get pushed out so that everybody can go to the local big chain. I'm against that. But like I said, but my point was, of the people that claim that I want something for my community, and you give them the opportunity, that's not what they lean towards. And I'm like, you're a fucking hypocrite.
Like I said, I see where you're coming from with it, bro. I just don't feel like everybody has to be that person, bro. That, again, it seems like everybody wants to see everybody be Elon Musk. Everybody wants to. That's what I know that much. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't put that on everybody, bro. Some people, bro, are made. Some people will put the infrastructure together and have a team together to run these type of businesses so they can prosper. And then you have some people, bro, that's just good with just a family business. See, let me explain something to you real quick.
I'm all about that.
McDonald's was a family business, bro, between two brothers. But what you got to realize, bro, is the point that I'm trying to make, bro. When that monopolized came in, that other dude came in who was a vacuum clean salesman, bro, he took that business to somewhere else, and he even lost it, sir. It's not even his no more. It's a part of the United States. They might have a CEO, a COO, and all this other shit, but they ties us to the United States, sir. That's why, nigga, when they go across country and shit, nigga, they have motherfucking division. They got to do certain things over there, and they contracts and shit is way different when they go to Dubai and all these other places. It's a whole different other structure. So
any of that, sir. I'm not disputing any of that. We're not in disagreement with that. The initial point that I made, even before I started talking about taking the transcontinental, was that when given the opportunity, when we say that we wish to, quote, develop our, quote, communities that I think should spread out, in order to do that, when given the opportunity, we go for things that tend to fall along the lines of image. And I'm like, while we let other people who are outsiders dictate what we can eat and how much we can eat, that's my concern. And I see it. Like I said, if it just happened in one area, no problem. But if I can say that I can see it in 10 major metropolitan areas, the same shit happening, and then I say, okay, well, what are the major things that are out there? And I see that it's liquor stores, that it's barbershops and nail salons and shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck? How do you all have the same idea? No one went the other route? That is grossly outnumbered the things that actually will sustain families, that will put food on tables, that will actually put people to actually sit, if they can, to sit at a dinner table together, to have the family meals.
What would those be? Explain that to me real quick.
What do you mean by what are those that you're talking about?
So what's good, that business that you're talking about that put food on the table?
Grocery stores.
Okay, grocery stores. So if you think it more,
just grocery stores.
Okay, so I don't really want to do that. I don't even really want to go down the nuances of that, because that's going to be retarded to go down there.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
So my question is, are you speaking about like the things we used to do, let's just say in the early 40s and 50s and wherever
No,
we had our own section where
no,
we did wherever.
no.
Okay.
I just mean even today. And the point that I'm making, I don't know if you caught it early enough, but the point that I'm making is that when we look at major metropolitan areas, we're talking about cities where too many black people, of course, are living on top of each other because we're not spreading out and such.
Yeah.
I even made the whole doom and gloom. If you want to aim nukes at those cities, you would hit a lot of population for black folks. You take out a good chunk because they too busy living on top of each other. That
Okay.
we allow immigrants to come in and I hate to say the word, but infiltrate the quote communities, the black communities, and be responsible for the things that quote sustain our lives. When I say
Well,
food,
majority
just
of
food.
liquor stores are owned by immigrants, and majority of all the hair salons and hair things like of that nature are still ran by immigrants.
So
Not
for what I see in those areas, nail techs, absolutely from Koreans, hair salons, Hispanics and black folks.
yeah.
Barbershops, mainly Hispanics and black folks. But the thing that I don't really, the point that I was making is that when you look at the percentage of those things, the things that are heavily disproportionate that should put food on tables, grocery stores, like I said, even if you want to take away big chains, we're going to strip away the Piggly Wigglies, we're going to strip away the Food Lions, we're going to strip away the Walmarts, just grocery stores. It is heavily taken over by white folks in black neighborhoods.
Well, I don't think black people can own a neighborhood. That's the only thing I gotta say about.
Well, I didn't say own the neighborhood, but like as far as the things that should help put food on black people's table, like of all the things that I see them invest in their business, the one thing I'm not really seeing, according to stats I have up here, are places that provide food. That's my thing.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with that per se, but I get what you're getting.
I see, like I said, I'm going to say it again. I see places that he's talking about. But again, you're talking about, for some reason, you won't account them. You only, I don't know if it's, that's why I asked you again, bro. Is it the money that they making, bro? What is it that, because if they supplying their community, bro, they supplying their community. Now, if you're talking about somebody, a whole city, bro, it won't be able to take care of, bro, by a black grocery store. It's going to have to be multiples. It's going to have to be a franchise. It's going to have to be
most cities have multiple hoods, multiple communities within it.
But again, you're talking about, that's why I was giving you examples, bro. Because like I said, I see why they ain't out there doing all these businesses like that, bro. Because it's a lot of nuances and shit to go along with that, bro. They can't get everything that everybody else can get inside their grocery store, bro, to sell it. So they can sell what they can sell, and they can make the money that they can make, which is going to be average enough for them. They just not going to be on a succeeding side of the game where they, you know what I'm saying, a millionaire.
You know what I'm going to say against all of that, right?
Go ahead.
Then you can't complain about what the hell you don't have in your community and how
but
other
that's
people
the reason
are
I wasn't complaining.
No, I'm not saying you specifically, because what I see on these places is that how they talk about how other people are coming in and taking over their communities when you can see obviously the things that they work on. It's so evident in front of their face.
But Resla, that goes back to the first thing I said when I came up here when I was disagreeing with old girl, bro. That's because nigga blacks got to prop themselves up to be something more than average, dog. It don't matter what you do. If you got a barbershop, nigga, you're not even average. But most people don't even know this, bro. But most people don't even know about a barbershop, bro. Them niggas that got barbershops, bro, is taking care of their houses and their homes. They got several cars. They got a house. They probably got vacation time. They can go do things. They can drop on the drop of a dime, do what the fuck. I know people, bro, that cut hair. I know how they living. I know when people get establishment like that, what they do for them, for their family. So I'm not sitting here saying, bro, that I say we need to spread out. But again, you're talking about when people, just like that woman did, bro, it don't matter what you do as a black person, bro. We're going to compare that to something super big, bro. So if you got a grocery store, that's the way I came in and I said that, bro, you come in, you want to compare a person, bro, who got a small grocery store, who's trying to help out the community, who's not doing it all the way to a Walmart or a Kroger. They're going to kill the market. They're going to have way more people, they're going to have way more everything. So, but go ahead, say what you got to say.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, because I was just in there repeating myself.
So I think, bro, that we need to stop propping everything up, bro. If you got a fucking food court like JP, bro, and you out here selling meats, bro, and you making money for your family, I'm cool with that, bro. But every time I hear somebody talk about that man and his food court, you know what they tell me? Oh, he should have been doing this. He need to have this. Okay, bro, why do you gotta? But you see somebody else doing it, like a white or Asian shit, they doing good. They making some money. As soon as you see a black person doing the shit, they need to do it better. They need to have more. They need to monopolize.
And who are the black people who do that? Because you know what I said? Because even I was on the part when we were having a conversation about it, when they were talking about you shouldn't even have your daughters out there, whatever. And I said, get the fuck out of here. That man should be doing the fucking thing.
And I said the same thing with you, bro. I want one of them niggas that said the nigga shouldn't have his daughter out there. I'm thinking of the family dynamic, bro. You teaching your daughter something.
And I was right there with that. I don't have a problem with that.
So that's what I'm saying. Again, bro, I'm not talking about what you said personally, bro. I was saying what old girl was saying. She's the one. You didn't say nothing about propping black people up.
I didn't.
She said that. And that's the reason why I came up here. That's the reason I said in the chat, I hope you still be up here, because I wanted to say something about that. I believe, bro, that like she said, she want everybody to be above average, because average in her eyes is a white person. And she want everybody to be above that. And again, bro, the average white person, bro, ain't above me. And I'm a nigga.
Hey, but what do I say all the time? People should be okay with being average, because you need somebody that's going to be there. Not everybody can be above. I just been having a whole conversation with ETheMan and John the Baptist on this.
And I know that's why I was listening to you and ETheMan. And when you and ETheMan had that decisive conversation and y'all sat there and said that, I was thinking to myself, nigga, right. It's a lot of motherfucking white folks out here, but most people don't know what fucking me average is.
Yeah.
Because, nigga, they live in the average. Bro, let me explain. If you don't know what average is, nigga, if you're not a millionaire, bro, you're average, cuz. You just is. You can do the same shit I can do. Ain't nobody on this YouTube space, nigga, that I can't do the same thing that they doing. If I fuck around and want to do it, I can stop buying the shit that I'm buying and do the same bullshit that you're doing. I just have different vices that I like to do. Everybody's average, bro. Ain't nobody up here no motherfucking Elon Musk. Ain't nobody up here no Jay-Z and Beyonce. So, again, everybody is average, but when we look at certain people, bro, we want to put the nigga down here so far. Bro, you can't put the nigga all the way down at the bottom, bro, because nigga, they ain't just at the bottom. Most of them niggas is above average.
I hear you. I'm not against that, but when we have the talk, and this is the point where I'm even gonna even get into the whole thing where we're talking about like ETheMan. When we get all these people that have these fucking talks, when we get the people that start talking about how they want to quote have a business, when they have an opportunity, when they say, I just want to do things for my community, and you look at them and they have the opportunity to really make something that could effectively have a real actual impact. Just if you really want to look at the optics of it, that's not what they choose. Because the same way we look at a lot of different people within industries, the same way how I said I want to take away athletes and entertainers because of the light that is shining on them as quote being excellent. You choose image over everything else. And it's disheartening. Because the numbers, like I said, that can't be true. And I'm looking at, and the numbers show that. You'd rather worry about somebody having their lace fronts and their haircuts than what would actually put families together at the dinner table. And I said, and keep in mind, I'm not chastising them for that, but I'm like, obviously you are in your own community. You see that. But you want to talk about how you want to effectively make a change, there's your opportunity. Because you're allowing other people to come in and basically put food on your family's table. Who, quite frankly, are putting their kids in school off of your money in your community. And what do they say about the people in those communities? The dollar circulates how fast? Come on now.
But I get what you're
saying. We lose money because it circulates so fast because we spend our money on bullshit.
Because it's going to a subsidized company, bro. It's going to a company, bro, that embarked itself onto their neighborhood. You can't take that money from them.
We paid those Asian grocers so they can turn around and bring their kids over here, and the money that we're giving to them, they send their fucking kids to college.
Yes, it sound good.
They
like real talk, it sound good.
Are you gonna tell me that we could not figure after all these years we can't figure out that game and do it?
I mean, bro, be honest with yourself, bro. Okay, again, you're moving too fast, bro. When you trying to put everybody on the same standard, bro. Everybody ain't
Again,
gonna make it.
I'm not. You never heard me say everybody. Don't
I understand.
do that.
Oh, bro, I'm just saying, bro. So you're only talking about blacks.
The black people that talk all that shit about how they want to do something for their community, but when they given the option to, when you look at them, when they choose when they got the money and they choose it, you see what they choose.
Yeah, bro,
And
because
I'm
they
like,
wasn't about it. They wasn't, bro. Again, you.
Then again, my point is, don't harp shit about what you're talking about, what somebody should be doing for your community when you have the opportunity. You don't do it yourself. When we talked about literally being examples, we talked about being examples.
Examples is not the people that's going to be in your hood. Your examples is going to be the motherfuckers that influence your thinking, the way that you perceive the world. Those are the people that's going to be your influencers, your stuff
How
like
do they
that.
influence?
So by misdirecting your mind, thinking, bro, that you're not average, sir, because you're not white.
Okay, so did you hear the whole conversation we were having earlier when I said,
yes, bro, that's what I'm telling you, and that's why I disagree with this shit, bro.
And thinking that you were going to be LeBron, that it was more feasible for you to do it the long way, like a Ben Carson and a freaking Clarence Thomas. Did I not state that? That's something that's more tangible.
You did state that, bro. But again, everybody ain't a Neil. Everybody's not a Neil deGrasse Tyson. Bro.
Everybody again.
Bro, because I'm only wrapping it up. Okay, fuck the white folks, the Asians, and everybody else. We're just gonna talk about black folks, bro. When I say everybody, you know who I'm talking about. Resla, stop trying to make it seem like I'm talking about all the rest of the races, bro. We on one conversation. When
I'm talking about, you say everybody, not every black person, because I don't think every black person.
But the person that you're talking about, bro, is the people who did do it.
The people who are running their mouth about talking about how.
And they the ones that didn't do it, sir. They was just running their fucking mouths, bro.
That's why I say, don't run your fucking mouth.
And that's why I said they ain't about it, sir. They gonna do that, bro. What are you understanding about that, bro? We just had this whole conversation the other day, bro. People don't even fucking reflect, bro. They not even they lie about the fucking body counts that they have, bro. They lie about their education. So they lie to themselves. The old girl was sitting on the video lying to herself to make herself feel good. I'm not going to sit here and give her no type of validity, bro. I'm not going to give them no way out. It's fucking dumb. And if you think that way, bro, you need to stay at the bottom. Now, if you got a cognitive mind, and you hear me say this all the time, bro, them the people, bro, that prosper. You getting upset, bro, at somebody, bro, who's lying.
I even to the point where I said it before, the idea that we keep listening to people who start doing what? Who are stating the worst things for us. Why do we put that shine on them? And yet you have this person that will sit there and complain, not the lady I had before, but one before her, that will sit there and start talking about all this shit and black excellence after I have to go through a whole basically diatribe of what they even see as black excellence, which is some pretty basic shit, to be honest. And then her next words are basically, we should just give up. I'm like, don't even fucking open your mouth in the first place.
And she ain't showing none of everything that she's saying. She ain't showing none of this shit. So why the fuck even give it validity? If you just let her just talk, bro. Let her talk, and then when she say some shit, bro, that you can agree with. But when she's saying that bullshit, bro, don't worry about it.
I literally did. And then when I say she on that bullshit, I moved on to the next person. I literally did that.
Say that's the way it should be, bro. Because again, you're talking about somebody, bro, who's not even doing the things that they're talking about. So I agree with you on that point.
Got the next button.
But it's still, she's still in her head making herself believe that she's not average. That's the fucked up part. And then she is below somebody else. And because of a standard that she so-called put herself in, she don't understand just by everybody has a job, bro. Then ain't nobody out here living for free like that, bro, unless you just super, super wealthy, money got left down to you. You don't have to do nothing for the rest of your life. Most people's out here getting the bag.
Not disagreeing with that at all. I think that most people are average, and it's okay to be average.
And I agree with you on that too. So for her to even think that she is below average is a fucking mindset. And
which is what I said. If you're going to give up, hopefully you're going to be sitting in that tent that you behind, right? You give up
No, I can agree
all
with
and
that.
everything, right? I said that. Let's see. But I doubt it. I doubt that she'd be working for the government that she was just talking shit about. Back to her quote oppressors.
And that's why I always say the same thing over and over. I'm not the smart nigga. See, I'm not the educated nigga. So I'm not going to even try to put myself in some. See, I notice everybody who's at educated level, that's how they mind think. That's why I ask you certain questions about monopolizing, shit like that. Because again, most of these people, bro, who educated know, bro, that's how businesses are ran. This is what you do to get to the top of your game, or either put your business in the talk of being in the top. But most people, bro, who got small businesses and stuff, bro, don't even think that big. Like I was trying to explain to you about Turkey Leg Hood. It's been smart, bro, for them niggas to move around. They got traction, got named you on the news. You got a news segment down there every other week in Houston. People see your motherfucking.
I don't know anything of that.
Bro. It's on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. Like this stuff it's on TV. Like they show the shit. They cook for the governor down there, nigga. They did all type of shit. Did that type of events. I mean, bro, this shit is on the news. So I mean, like, why not spread your wings and go some far out? But the nigga was like, why go so far out, bro, when I'm making enough money here? Well, you need to be making more money because you're not trying to be like Shake Shack, Steak and Shake, or
Steak
you
and
not
Shake.
trying to, or you not, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was about to say something way different. You're not trying to be like Popeye's chicken. You know what I'm saying? You need to be more like them. You need to go now, because I was thinking of this place up here, bro. You know, just think about a place in Norman over there, nigga. You know what I'm saying? By Stars and Stripes, one of the best little old steak places. You know what I'm saying? You get a burger in. But anyway, I was thinking of that. The name just fucked me up. Damn, Tom. But
because you're talking too fast. What do? You need to smoke a blunt, dog.
I'm smoking right now. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
I heard that lighter.
You hear that lighter, bro? That motherfucker flicking, nigga. You hear me? But most of them, and I looked at, and I started like, you know what? Let me look at Lynn and see what they doing over to him and his wife, bro. See why they ain't moving to these, bro. They making so much money there, bro. They don't need to go nowhere else. They doing so much shit. And to open up another business somewhere, bro, that'll be double his time. And at that time, he was like, Nick, I ain't got time to go through and try to redo everything because with this one location ain't like this other location, guess what's going to happen to my first location? I'm going to lose business. So it's all consistency when you come to these different places, bro. That's why I take most of these markets so long to get up. But just staying in one place, bro, nigga making hella millions of dollars. Now, they might not got it no more because of bankruptcy and all the other shit that they had to go through, but the nigga got hella money. Like, nigga, you out here spending money on celebrities who got supposed to have more money than you. Like, you involved into the world of what they say upper echelon is supposed to be. And I'm looking at like, this nigga ain't nothing but average. He's just nothing but an average dude, bro.
I think
you got a business, you got to take her.
They're spending money to be like these motherfucking celebrities. And they'll never be because they're not making the same type of money. But
that's where things differ at.
Yeah,
because
that's the problem. Like me, you've always said, I don't mind, bro, shopping at a motherfucking Walmart. It ain't gonna hurt my pockets. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt my soul at all.
Yeah, I pick up whenever I'm nearby. I pick up stuff from my Dollar Tree, Dollar General. I have no problem with that.
I'm a tinker, nigga. I fix shit, bro. I pick up from all type of places, so it don't really matter to me. But I'm just saying, like a people like that, bro. Then, like you said, if you think it's an image thing, I just think, bro, it's a classism thing. If you got enough money, bro, to indulge yourself with these type of people that's doing, bro, and you got the funds and you got the income that's coming in, you might be broke when the income come in. You might not have the same amount of money you had to spend when you went out and did what you did with the celebs, but you still got to do it, bro. You in that same fucking class. It's no different. But you got some people that think, no, because I got a name, no, my name is Jay-Z, or this person's name is this. You can't be with the local nigga down here, bro, who own the grocery store. You can't be down with the nigga who own the barbershop because guess what? He weigh more money than you. He in a higher class and you're average. They looking at these niggas, bro, like they ain't really shit. But I'm like, bro, they doing good. These are niggas that we basically saying they can put their family or put their kids in college. These are dudes that's taking care of business.
I think it was Lil Flip or some other rapper down in Texas. I can't remember which one. But they said my whole time in the 90s, I think I spent about $30 on t-shirts. Everyone else buying $700 t-shirts. Yeah, motherfucker said, man, I would never. Spend that much money on a motherfucking
y'all,
shirt. Goddamn,
y'all think these barbers ain't got so much they can fuck the game up like a hook on the street. Haircut used to be $10, went up to $25. Call your person over there now, and they're gonna charge you $50. This is a nigga on the streets. Go to a barbershop and get one of them dudes that leave out the barbershop, $250. Now, if you got a name behind you, like the dude that we just watched last night, Drewski, Resla, guess how much this dude paid this barber to come over to his house and cut his hair before he do every show? Drop the nigga off a bag under $10,000, sir, for a fucking haircut. He has a YouTube channel, the dude that does his haircut. He mess with studs when they walk in there. He cuts their hair and then he act like he gonna cut their beard, or he rub them on the chin. He pisses them off so he can get views. That's the type of barber he got, but this nigga get paid. He got 3 shops. Kids and everything doing fine. But it's just the image thing, bro. If you're not doing what everybody else is doing and you're just living a mediocre life, not doing, you know what I'm saying? People gonna look at you like, oh, well, you should be this. It should be this way. Like, nah, bro, they doing good. But people want to see people above the average, and they think that everybody who is, I guess, celebrity is above average, and everybody who's not is poor, which is fucking weird to me.
Which is why when I talked about it, I said please exclude celebrities and entertainment, because that's the first thing people reach for.
And that's why I got when you were saying, when you kept on telling me not to go to the big places, just stick with the small, because once I go big, then it's a whole different, like I said, and that's why I got you.
It's a different conversation.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna stay small. I get what you're saying.
Tom, you got anything on this since you came in here?
No, sir.
I'm surprised. After he got his ass whooped by his daddy, I'm surprised he ain't got nothing to say.
Oh, damn, this guy.
I ain't mean to bring it up. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna start over. I'm sorry, Tom. You did good, sir. You did good, sir.
Fuck that nigga, man.
All right. Well, folks, I think I'm gonna end it here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna give y'all guys back your time. I don't even feel like going through the rest of that video, because quite frankly, we already know the point that she's getting at. It's just kind of ridiculous.
I mean, that's
she's delusional. She's delusional. Yeah. You first of all, you cooked her ass. I wish y'all can have a conversation together. You probably wouldn't want to have a conversation with her, because you'd probably get pissed off and have to have a drink. But I would like y'all two to have a conversation. Yeah, that'd be a fire conversation, because you gonna roast the shit out of ass.
I don't think if she saw this video, and then she would turn around and want to agree to that.
No, I don't think she would either.
I don't think she wants to. I think it was. Listen, that was the first time the ETheMan showed up, so that was cool. Yeah. So shout out to him.
Where was I?
Yeah. He came through. He came through. We had a good conversation. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. Let's get everybody ready to go home. Let's drop it out real quick. So, everybody, hopefully you guys had a good show today. This was, like I said, it was going to be a bit of a touchy subject. It kind of got to that point. Again, I agree when we were having the conversation, me and OG as well. But I do kind of want to just still say that if you're going to open your mouth about pretty much doing things for communities, then you should really do the things that really matter in communities. Because quite frankly, even bring to the point where even OG said about the barber, he makes a whole bunch of money. Assume you're not going to be that guy, and it's okay to be average. But if you really want to do something for your community, please do something that's going to be meaningful for your community. You know, getting the bag is nice too, but I think if we do things the right way, then sometimes especially if you put yourself in a prominent position, it's going to work out for you. With that being said, guys, it's a little different for me today. Hopefully that you guys getting too much in your feelings. I know people are very much having their own opinions in the chat. Thank you for everybody who showed up. OG, Unkle Tom, ETheManWilliams, he popped up. Shout out to him as well. And also John the Baptist, who kept fumbling in and out. But I do appreciate the conversation that he did bring. Guys, if you see me anywhere else, just say hi to me if we managed to keep on the other mediums. I am on other mediums as well, such as the Twitters, such as the not too much. I'm not even gonna worry about Facebook. But you can catch me on Instagram. You can also email me at WrestleOpinionated@gmail.com. And outside of that, I will be hanging around for a little bit, and also be sure to see us when we're going to be up. Tom, you doing Conspiracy Wednesday today, or are you having something different?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of conspiracy, then a little bit of folk. I don't know if it's folklore or whatever it is. It's just about Appalachian people, feral
Gotcha.
Appalachian people, some
All
shit
right.
like that. But
All
yeah,
right, gotcha.
I
So
will be doing something.
all right. So we'll be doing something over at Uncle Tom's channel. Actually, after the show, I'll put his I'll put a link to his channel over in the description box as well as OG for showing up as well. And I'll have to do the same thing for ETheMan because I appreciate him coming up as well, guys. Damn, I'm all over the board. I'm all over the board because I messed up getting in earlier today. Guys, I do appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you very much, everybody who did do so. Hopefully you guys are gonna have a good time for the rest of your days. Hopefully everything works out for you and could be a little bit more. But quite frankly, I think we may hit the table. This may have to come back for something else in the future. Again, this was a conversation that could have been for anybody. You didn't necessarily have to be anyone on the Melanated side to have this conversation, because I think things that even, quote, the Black people are even looking for when it comes to their particular perspective on things do affect other cultures. Again, we have so many people as far as Hispanics, as far as Asians, as far as Asians, whether you're East or actually West on that. But for some reason, that big gaping hole that was sitting forth in a lot of people's minds were just about white people. And that's just not the only culture that we have out there. I think if you really spread your wings and spread out in the world, we can build a better, quote, community than just sitting on top of each other and loathing each other, because quite frankly, we can't have any space. Guys, thank you for showing up. I'll see you on the next one. Stay opinionated. Love you guys. To the next one.